today and save every time you park.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
It is another edition of the Daily Ticket with you live right here on The Gambler. Sean Brace, Sean Barnard on a Tuesday. A lot to get to, including the New Orleans Pelicans meeting with the media today. Sean Barnard, is basketball back?
Oh, basketball never leaves, Sean Brace. It, of course, is back. Bad franchise, by the way. Badly run franchise, the New Orleans Pelicans.
Takes one to know one, right?
I'm going to start with me and my good friend Sam Ostry had some nice words dating back to the Derek Queen trade. Not only did the Pelicans trade 2 first-round picks to make that happen, to jump up a handful of slots and do not have their first-round pick completely unprotected for next year, but the GM also set the goal of it is not necessarily our goal to make the playoffs this year, which is something I think would be correlated to giving up your first-round pick for next year to do. But nonetheless, that's their bed. They got to sleep in it.
Wait, the general manager for the Pelicans came out and said playoffs, not their goal this year?
He said not necessarily the goal, that it would be unfair to throw those expectations.
I mean, what are you doing?
What are we doing? Yeah, it's come on.
What? Season hasn't even started, and he's waving the white flag.
Yeah, insane.
What a disaster of a franchise. You're right about that. All right, we do have a lot to get to, as always. We got a couple Daily Ticket debuts today. Looking forward to getting those gentlemen on, and a lot to discuss as far as looking ahead in the NFL Week 4, specifically with the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll tell you what the Eagles are doing differently this time around as they head to South Florida. But I think it's important to always open up, of course, right here, right now, Sean Barnard, as we are inching closer towards another Red October run, my friend. September 30th. Playoff start for all of Major League Baseball. The Phillies, I believe, are 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. 2 games, magic number.
2.5. 2.5 behind the 1 seed currently.
Well, the 1 seed, but
yeah.
to lock up the 2 seed to get the bye, it could very well happen. I think tonight or tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to dig that numbers. I thought it was 2. Anyways, it's looking like that's going to be the case. I didn't really think that they were going to catch the Brew Crew for the number 1 overall spot as far as the National League is concerned. And here we are right now with Major League Baseball across the board essentially picking up. I know that a lot of teams did play yesterday. A lot of teams did have some big series over the weekend. The Phillies ended up losing 2 or 3 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think for the most part, what we're doing here is just looking at what's going to take place for the Dodgers and the Cincinnati Reds, because that is looking like how it's going to shake out as far as the path is concerned for the Phillies. As I said, Phillies are 92-64, Brewers are 95-62. And then you have the Mets are 80-76, Cubbies are 88-68. You got the Reds at 80-76, Padres 86-71. They clinched their playoff berth yesterday. And as I said, the Dodgers 88-68 there. So a lot to discuss when it comes to who the hell the Phillies will be facing. And we'll have those answers over the next 6 games.
Yeah, and it will be nice to see that from a matchup perspective. The biggest decision real looming within the Phillies is, of course, that pitching rotation. Do you go with the 3 lefties, which I think all signs are pointing to that being the case, but it does impact your decision-making on who that matchup is. If this is a left-hand dominated lineup that you're facing, makes the decision a whole lot easier in comparison to maybe there is something towards throwing Aaron Nola out there just to have a righty, even though he has not looked like the peak version of himself. But I think as much as we do get caught up in these matchups, at the end of the day, it starts with this Phillies team looking themselves in the mirror. That this is a team that when they play to their best, I do not believe another team in baseball can touch them. We've seen them play like that for stretches. We've seen them play like that for stretches in the postseason, but it's got to come together on full display this year. There's a lot of stakes on the future of the Phillies beyond this season, depending on how things do go down.
You don't think anybody can touch them?
The Dodgers is probably the closest thing that I would give you, but I do think when the Phillies play.
Thank you for giving me the Dodgers. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes.
I mean, the Phillies are good, man. Like it really does feel like it's meltdowns when it does not work.
All right, but hang on. You're right. Like, I'm with you. I don't want to argue with you on that, but knowing what we know when it comes to playoff baseball, can you really say what you just said? Like,
then when they play their best, they're the best team?
But we know that, like, things get ratcheted up and teams start to play on a different level. Pitchers start living up to their expectation. They meet the moment. Like, teams get hot. Look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Do you want to face the Diamondbacks coming up here in the playoffs? I sure as hell don't.
That's probably the one team that I'm like, I don't love that matchup. They're very contact hitters, play good fundamental baseball. They field the ball incredibly well. Their shortstop, especially, like from top to bottom.
And by the way, they traded half their team and they're in this position.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that either.
A lot of belief.
Sure, I get that with the Diamondbacks. I'm still going to stand 10 toes down on the take that if this Phillies team plays their best, nobody's touching them. They just have to do that.
Yeah, I just look at it from what we know in years past, and I don't even care. It's not even talking about this team, this roster. It is just what changes when playoff baseball comes around. And everything that, like you said, hey, look, the odds makers are in agreement with you. They're the number one favorite team on the board, and I'm not here to argue that. I'm very cautious to have any bravado because we know what it takes, and especially with the way the series shake out. Next thing you know, you lose a game that you're supposed to win. Now you're battling back. And it's just it's like we discussed 100 different ways here. It's the most difficult championship to win.
For sure. The thing that I will say is I do think that they've done a nice job sort of covering their bases in a way that was not the case in past playoff runs. Like the outfield, for example. You're not just living and dying with whether it is a hot streak for Nick Castellanos or if he's struggling at the plate. You have other options that you can roll out with Max Kepler, with Brandon Marsh, with, of course, Harrison Bader being a difference maker. The Yohan Duran is going to be the true closer in a way that we have not seen during this era of Phillies baseball. That sure, they kind of tried it with Craig Kimbrell, but a whole different story when you're talking about a guy in his prime like Yohan Duran, who is absolutely going to bring the heat there. So I think they have checked some boxes that they haven't in past years that do make a difference from a playoff perspective. I think the two biggest things that we've seen is the bats going cold and the bullpen not being up to the standard there. I think they've done some work to improve in both those categories. So I'm still optimistic.
Yeah, we are on postseason watch at this point in time. And the big one is the Reds and the Mets, who are tied for that final postseason berth, and it's looking like one of the bigger collapses.
Big time.
Oh, by the way, there's an even bigger collapse taking place in the American League Central with the Detroit Tigers. Take a look at what's happening there, the free fall that they're going through, and they have an unbelievable series coming up here. Again, two series left for every team across the league. You got Tigers at Guardians. This is the key games today. That one's going off at 6:40. You got the Sox and Blue Jays at 7:07, and the Mets and Cubbies coming up at 7:40. We'll talk a little bit more about some of those numbers and expectation as we head in here. But just going off of what we've seen this last week plus, I am definitely not putting my money behind the Mets. I am definitely not putting my money behind the Detroit Tigers at this point in time. There's two teams on free fall.
Absolutely. I mean, the Tigers look like they can't produce runs whatsoever. And obviously they are kind of a pitchers dependent team, but they're getting no sort of production at the plate whatsoever. Like there's nothing as far as signs of life within that offense there. And like pretty shout out to Cleveland for taking advantage of the opportunity there.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is not just a team in free fall. There's a team directly capitalizing on it. So I'm loving watching that race go down. And it does warm my heart a little bit to watch the Mets collapse in full force here. We're starting to see the mental gymnastics of this is a rebuilding year anyway.
Oh, stop.
It's insane. This team is all in every single season. They pay that type of money. But I would be thrilled for the Phillies not to have to go through them from a postseason perspective.
Amen to that. Right there with you on that one. You're right. The Guardians went on a 10-game win streak. I know that was snapped over the weekend, but second in the Central, only one game behind Detroit with that big-time series. If they take 2 of 3, they will have the tiebreaker. If they sweep them, it's their division. And it doesn't get any easier for the Tigers in the next series as they have the Red Sox. But to my point, it's just I know we need a little bit of a revisit here because you have a best of 3 wild card series, you have a best of 5 division series, And that's the only thing that goes through my mind. It's just a fluke sometimes, and you don't win one of those games, the next thing you know, you got to go on the road and win over there and whatever team they're taking on. And it's difficult. It's difficult. And you get some of the better pitchers out there that live for this moment. They're all professionals at the end of the day. Every one of these players are damn good to get to this point in their career. And with an opportunity where you don't get these often, you look at Harrison Bader, how many times he's been in the playoffs. He was talking about that last week. You got to make the most out of every one of these opportunities. You play 162, you finally get to October, and maybe you're putting a little bit more pressure on yourself. Maybe you're trying to do a little bit too much. It's just anything can happen. And then the next thing you know, it's a loss. And then next thing you know, you're staring down the barrel of being eliminated in a best-of-5 series. So look, baseball season here. Well, it is baseball season. Postseason will be here before we know it. And as I said, September 30th, that's when the party gets started in wild card. Phillies won't have to worry about that, though. It'll be officially Red October the next time that we see the Titans take the field in the playoffs. But as we'd said, back at it this evening, fire up DraftKings Sportsbook, take a peek at some of the numbers, continue to win. That's, want to hit the ground running as far as ending this season the right way. They should be able to do it. The Marlins weren't as bad as advertised this year, but it's a home game. Phillies need to find a way to win a game here.
Sanchez on the mound,
minus 245. The juices are going to be incredible down there at the ball yard. The handle business, right? Handle business.
Oh, yeah. And even like as we're sort of getting to the finish line of the regular season, it's still important to stay in routine, to stay sharp, to get game reps for a guy like Christopher Sanchez, who's going to be the clear-cut day one starter. This is a perfect opportunity to like hone your skill set. Make sure that you're ready for the moment. Like you said, you can't afford to have that little slip up like there. So I still think it's important for this team to keep its foot on the gas and treat these final games as important reps to be prepared for the playoffs. This is not just limp to the finish line. Take advantage of these chances right now because you don't get them back.
You're right about that. And if you get the opportunity to play out there, no crying, get out there and suit up. Let's go. I know you had a piece over at Crossing Broad about Nick Castellanos and the whole conversation inside the locker room, which I didn't like, period.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody's there. You follow these players around for 162. They give you an ounce of, a sliver of an opportunity to get in there and ask some difficult questions. No one's going to pass up on that. I didn't think anybody did anything wrong, but it's just not what you want to be hearing at this point in time of the season.
Yeah, and that particular article, which is one of my favorites that I've written there, I kind of broke it into two parts. Like the specific Nick Castellanos situation, to me, is pretty cut and dry in a way that everyone's trying to complicate it. The reality of the situation is this is a guy who's used to playing every day, who wants to play every day, who's paid like an everyday player, who's been benched. He obviously wants to play. He's obviously disappointed that he's been benched. I also think he's going out of his way to try not to be a distraction right now, and it's constantly dragged. Like that entire interview that caused all the waves that it did, that was basically 4 consecutive minutes of just the same question phrased in different ways to get that quote that you're searching for. And to Castellanos' credit, he didn't really give it. Like, sure, you can dig a little bit into the Rob Thompson communication stuff, but I think the takeaway is this is a dude that's trying really hard not to be a distraction to the team. Let him do that. Don't try and drag it out of him like that. He's trying to be a good teammate, and I will commend Nick Castellanos for that. I also have a hard time just being mad at a dude for wanting to play more, which I think is the root of this entire situation.
Yeah, look, the media is in baseball. I can only imagine what it's like to grind. And then here it is. You get that opportunity. It's a storyline at the end of the season where everything is, all positives and how it works and the stratosphere of clickbait and all that. You're not going to get a lot of clicks on something that's positive. This story has been written on the Phillies for the last month. They're hitting their groove, playing much better baseball, and this is a team with some serious expectation as the favorite to win the World Series. So if you are any of these media members, and I think there are some really good, Todd Zalecki, I know he was one of the guys there. Who's the kid from The Athletic? Matt.
I should know. Gelb.
Thank you. Matt Gelb does a great job. There's a lot of media members that follow the team around, and here's an opportunity where that Casty is A, going to give you something, and B, it's a big storyline that could get you a little bit of attention at this point in time. You hate to see it, but that's just the way the world works. And I don't have an issue with Nick Castellanos. I don't think he said anything wrong there. And then, look, for the communication aspect, like Rob Thompson is an old school manager, right? Like, you do need to talk to him, then go, the door's open. He said, come down here and come drop by my office, as Charlie once said.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of it's too much is made out of nothing here. Like I remember one of the situations where Nick Castellanos sort of had one of those quotes. This was probably a couple months ago now, where he got taken out of the game for defensive reasons. And the question was like, what was your conversation with Rob about that? And he's like, I didn't even talk to Rob. It was Paco that told me that got subbed out, who's the first base coach there. And then they asked Rob Thompson about it. And he's like, I mean, yeah, when Castellanos, like when we took him out, he literally made last out of the inning, that he was on the base path. So we came out and took him out that way. I thought it would be more of an obnoxious move if I'd walked out to tell him he's coming out of the game like that. So I think there's just a bit too much of just really searching and looking at this in a way that it should not be. Just let Nick Castellanos vibe, be himself, and he still could be very important to this playoff run.
Absolutely. And I think he's got a good head on his shoulders at this point in time. And oh, by the way, the lineup just came out for tonight. Game 157 down at Citizens Bank Park versus the Miami Marlins, and Nick Castellanos is not in the starting lineup. It goes Bader, Schwarber, Bohm, Marsh, Real Muto, Kepler, Wilson, Stott, and Kemp. Sanchez on the mound. All right, baseball conversation to open up. Of course, we'll revisit that in the 5 o'clock hour. Like I said, we got a couple daily ticket debuts. Really excited to get a couple of these gentlemen on. Fantastic work across the board. I just want to start with JP ACOSTA. He is from CBS Sports. He's one of these guys that grinds the tape. I love the dudes that are tape grinders, Sean Bernard. They're all 22, breaking the film down. And here's the difference. It's not to say that I don't particularly care for, but I kind of keep it moving when you see people picking those plays, those one-offs. I like the people that have been doing it, that can tell me about the formation, that can tell me about the offensive coordinator, that can tell me what he was doing when he was at a previous location or the strengths of this player. This dude right here, JP ACOSTA from CBS Sports, I caught him last week, 2 weeks ago on TV on the CBS Sports HQ. Fantastic job. He's even better follow on all things socials. He'll join us coming up at 3:30, and we are going to ask him specifically to start with what the hell happened in that first half between the Eagles and Rams. That's where my money is going, because he broke that film down. He had a great couple of vids on his timeline about that. Where are there plays to be made? What is his thoughts? What was the big difference as far as play calling in the second half? And what do they need to do different so this way they can go ahead and remove the way that they opened up against the LA Rams at home, which was god-awful, and keep it moving in a positive direction, taking on the Tampa Bay Bucs team, which, oh, by the way, Sean Bernard, the Philadelphia Eagles are favored on the road in Tampa Bay. My goodness. Yeah, that was a surprising line for your boy over here. Eagles 3-point favorites on Sunday against the Bucs. All right, without further ado, you know how we get this party started.
The Daily Ticket opening drive. No warm-ups, no stretching, just straight into the action.
Two teams will meet out in the middle of the field to say job well done, job better done on this night by your Detroit Lions, as they come into Baltimore and get the victory by a score of 38-30.
You know, I'm not one of these guys that like to say I told you so, but I told you so. Everybody was on the Ravens. I have a graphic in front of me. 3 ESPN shows, 4, 5, 4. Every one of them had a Ravens logo underneath their name. I get it. You can't handicap games like that, can you? Maybe you should start. Maybe we should all realize that, you know what, when everybody is on one team, nothing good is going to happen. And that's basically how it shook out yesterday, last night on Monday Night Football, where the Detroit Lions roll into Baltimore and nobody had them winning that game. 4.5-point dogs. How about that? They win outright 38-30. We got a lot right on the game yesterday. As far as touchdowns were concerned, as far as the fireworks are concerned, as far as staying away from the spread was concerned, that was my take. I was like, I have not given you a pick. I'm not going to sit here and tell you take the Ravens. I like the Ravens, but no way am I going to sleep on the Lions here when everybody is doubting them. Dan Campbell knows how to get them going. He does. And when you get Jared Goff comfortable, and there's plenty of ways to pick apart last night's game, and we will talk a little bit more about the Ravens defense, because that's where we need to go with this conversation, is the new Ravens reality, as now they are 1-2 on the season. And of course, we got to put the Lions underneath the microscope. But from the gambling perspective, last night, team total cashed.
Gave that to you over 29.5 for the Ravens. Lock that in. Derrick Henry, end zone. Of course, that seems to be easy, but, look, you got to find some legs to pop into the same game parlay. You got to hit. We did get a few wrong. Zay Flowers, he was quiet for the first half. That ended up costing us at the end of the game. Zay only had 2 grabs for 13 yards. Just a small receiver, so maybe you need to change your expectations. The focus, though, I know we need to put more on the defensive side of the ball for the Ravens, but Derrick Henry, what's going on?
Fumble.
What is going on, Sean Bernard? You can't fumble the football. He's not known for doing that, but this year, it's the story about Derrick Henry right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, and costly, very costly moments too. It's one thing to just fumble the football. It's another when it is a game-changing type moment, as was the case last time. It is uncharacteristic for Derrick Henry. That is a guy with his strength, frame, size, all these kind of things you want to throw his way. He simply should not be losing the football the way that is currently being the case there. I do think it's reached the point where this is now a problem. I mean, there's other examples around the league. Ramondre Stevenson had a quote this week after he fumbled twice saying, if I can't hold on to the football, they're not going to hold on to me. And he's right about that. Derrick Henry's not in those shoes because we know what a unique talent he is, but he's actively harming his team. So I don't know how you completely fix this. I'm sure they're practicing the crap out of it and doing the whole deal where he's carrying the football, smacking it out all the time. But yeah, it's an issue for this Ravens team. And until that is put to the side for at least the time being, that's going to continue shooting themselves in the foot.
All right. And then now over to the defensive side of the ball where it's a new Ravens reality. That's not a championship team. That's not a championship defense. That's a team that would lose to the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. That's a team that would lose to the Buffalo Bills into the playoffs. That's a team that could get picked apart by anybody in the playoffs if that is the defense that they're going to continue to roll out there. They didn't get after Goff, and they were getting shoved out of the way in the run game. That was an embarrassing performance by a Baltimore Ravens defense that has some horses over there, that has some dogs.
Kyle Hamilton, and there's a ton of talent on there. I did want to ask, did you see our guy John Jansen's take on Lamar Jackson last night?
I did not. My goodness. I've had a good day so far. What did he say?
That Lamar Jackson is playing the quarterback position better than any player in history.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to go negative on Lamar. He's throwing up numbers like we've never seen. It looks real easy. He's so athletic, so flashy.
I wouldn't
so
consider
smooth.
last night looking easy for Lamar. He's running for his life.
Yeah. Well, I'm just taking into account as far as the first 2 games. The Buffalo Bills game, perfect example. You're right. You're right that he did lose, but we're talking specifically about Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
Look, I just, it starts and ends with Mahomes, right? Like Mahomes played the quarterback position better than anybody for me in those years that he was able to make continuing Super Bowl runs. And then you got to go to Tom Brady.
Yeah, we've forgotten about Tom Brady.
I don't think Lamar has passed either one of those guys. Is he flashy? Does he make it look easy? Yes. But come on, man. Mahomes was Mahomes. He was the best quarterback. And Jansen was saying that about him a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like you said, are we going to forget about Tom Brady? Well, then pick up a record book and look at the numbers and look at the total touchdowns and look what he was doing at whatever age it was, winning all those Super Bowls. And that's where it starts and ends when we define what a good quarterback is or the best ever. It has to involve the way that they win as a unit, as a team. If it doesn't, then what are we doing?
Yeah, and I like Lamar. This is not to be a negative Lamar thing. I mean, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last year. 2 of those interceptions.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, 2 of those interceptions were deflected off his own receiver. So really 2 true interceptions last year, which is nut stuff. It's ridiculous, the growth that he's shown and just the advancements he's taken as a pure passer and reading defenses and how cerebral that he's become in his understanding of the game. So shout out to Lamar Jackson. I did think that was a bit of a strong over the top take from our guy Jansen.
Yeah, I just can't get down with these conversations when they lose the game,
right?
And when they're 1-2 on the season, and when, oh, by the way, they have a matchup against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs next week at 4:25, where the Baltimore Ravens are going to Arrowhead. They're 2.5-point favorites, 48.5. Guess what happens in the loser in that game, Sean Bernard?
1-3.
That's correct. So you can miss me on a guy playing the position the best that anybody's ever played when he's playing for a team that's 1-3.
Yeah.
All right. Like that conversation. Those are off-season conversations. Those are off-season statements. Not right now. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I don't know what my feeling is for that matchup between the Ravens and Chiefs. I think these are 2 AFC threats that both have some bigger flaws than people wanted to recognize there. Do you have an early feel on that game?
I'd love to put some stock behind the Baltimore Ravens, but they've made me look foolish now here twice. The way that they lost that game against Buffalo and then last night, and now you're telling me they're going to go into Arrowhead and win that game. I know that they have done that. I would say that they're the better team, but defensively, they can't stop anything. So I think Kansas City with their issues, like right now, I would say Kansas City has a better defensive front, better defense altogether in that game.
It's also and it's trying to put my finger completely on it, but it's almost like there's a lack of killer instinct in this Ravens team. Like last night, punting the football back to the Lions with there's like 8 minutes left in the game at this point, right around half field.
That's horrible. Yeah.
You just can't do that. Like you have to play to win the game.
Well, and then on the flip side, look what Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, which have come to be known of as far as,
fourth down.
Yeah. When it comes to fourth down, that's the backbone of their operation. That's how they go about their business. And they've converted a ton. I think 30%, 31% ESPN had since 2022, tops in the league. Yeah, they're aggressive, and it doesn't matter if they lose a new offense or if they got to bring a new offense coordinator or not. That's coming from the top down. So salute to Dan Campbell on that.
Yeah, and I respect that there's a direct identity that they abide by. That they're going to fall on the sword that way if that's how things end. But that's the way they're going to go about things. I don't think the Ravens sort of have that type of identity yet, and I think they need to find it very quickly here. I don't know if that starts with Lamar. It's probably mostly on Harbaugh, that entire conversation. But yeah, I need to see more in regard to the direct, we're all in on winning this football game in a way that I have not fully seen from Baltimore.
All right, so they were down a few players last night. I do want to be honest about that assessment. No doubt about it. You got to have all your horses in the stable, but enough of the excuses for the Baltimore Ravens. You're talking about a team that gave up 224 yards on the ground. That is just inexcusable. Can't happen. If we're talking about a team with championship expectations, a team that could finally get to the promised land. Hey, hand in the air. I had the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. Could be wrong. What are you going to do? Might be the Chiefs again. Might be the LA Chargers. Who knows, Sean Barnard? Who knows?
We know that one.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Daily Ticket. On the other side, JP Acosta from CBS Sports. I want to talk about the Eagles and, of course, last night's game. His thoughts on the new Ravens reality as they have dropped to 1-2. Are they a championship team in his mind? We'll find out what the film is telling a JP on the other side from CBS Sports. He's Sean Barnard. I'm Sean Brace. More after this.
If you can wager on it, we're talking
the biggest headliners in live music shared this stage
at our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Jelly roll!
Hi, this is Ed Sheeran.
Hi there, this is Brian Adams.
Make some noise for Tate McRae.
Hey, I'm Sammy Hagar.
Hey, this is Noodles from The Offspring.
We have Maroon 5. Good evening.
Hey, this is John Fogerty.
This your girl, Glorilla.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Get ready to relive the once-in-a-lifetime moments, starting October 2nd, only on Hulu.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Serious crash in Bucks County. Route 1 southbound is blocked at the Trenton-Morrisville Bridge. Traffic at a standstill back to Perry Street and northbound crawling approaching the scene. Only the right lane gets by. 95 northbound, stop and go by an expressway to Bridge. Wire to tell it total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the gift master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
It was a typical day in Philly until the word got out. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down.
Just go to Springfield Mitsubishi. Every vehicle is just a dime.
One dime down.
Plus, new Mitsubishis are $9,000 off. Yeah, $9,000 off MSRP.
And get 0% financing, 0 for 60 months at Springfield Mitsubishi.
Plus acres of pre-owned, all makes, all models.
And ask for credit amnesty. If you bring home $400 a week, you could get up to $30,000 in credit.
With just one dime down.
Up to $9,000 off MSRP.
And it's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down.
At Springfield Mitsubishi on Baltimore Pike.
They service all makes and models.
PhillyDrive.com.
PhillyDrive.com.
New 25 Outlander, 32.2, dime down, $535 a month, 72 months at 6% APR. Plus tax tag title to qualified buyers up to $9,000 off plug-in hybrid platinum through $930.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial. Like, so bad. Oh.
No, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and have the ultimate Pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us.
So, what do we have for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
24 monthly bill credits on Experience Beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end. Balance due if you pay off earlier. Cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Oh no, not again, Moose. That's my third premium ball in the water today.
So just grab another one, Harry.
Yeah, easy for you to say. These balls are expensive.
Not mine. I get all my balls from buymyballs.com. That's balls with a Z. Top quality, recycled premium brands for a fraction of the price.
Wait a second, Moose. So you're playing premium balls and not freaking out when you lose one?
Yeah, you got it. Hurry up. You're holding everybody up.
Ha. Yep. I'm ordering from buymyballs.com right now. Buy premium golf balls without the premium price. buymyballs.com.
The free iHeartRadio app makes your car radio jealous.
Live radio presets, lyrics for songs, and the most podcasts on the planet.
Plus, it all fits in your pocket.
Your car radio can't do that.
Make sure the free iHeartRadio app is on your smartphone now.
The #1 app for radio.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Well, you've come to the right place.
Hi.
You're listening to the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace. Right here on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Yes, indeed. Opening up, of course, with the Fightins back at home this evening, taking on the Marlins. Christopher Sanchez getting the start there. All eyes, Red October fast approaching. But, folks, it's football season. Come on, man. College football, the card is incredible on Saturday. Condolences to anybody that has anything to do that will take them off the couch with the Ryder Cup, college football, and, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles improving to 3-0, and now are going about their business heading down to Tampa in a different way. Interesting stuff as they're heading down to get accustomed to the Florida heat on Friday. We'll see if that makes a difference as the Eagles are 3-point favorites. All right, let's head out to the Gambler stream. Joining us right now, really excited to have this gentleman on. It's a Daily Ticket debut. Caught his work last week on CBS Sports HQ. Fantastic job across the board. Joining us right now, JP ACOSTA on the Gambler stream. JP, you're on with Sean Brace and Sean Bernard. How we doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Nice work on the HQ, my friend. How long you been over there at CBS Sports HQ?
It's been a little over a month. I just got the job at CBS Sports, co-hosting Pushing the Pile on everywhere you get your podcast. You can find me. Also going to be on CBS Sports HQ and writing for CBS Sports. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, man. You could tell you know what you're talking about, right? Like that's the biggest compliment that I can give you. Like I tuned in. I'm like, oh, I can learn something from you. And I think I did in that segment as you guys were breaking down the full NFL card. Caught you a few other times since then too as well. So really excited to have you here. I respect the people that we all love ball, right? We all love football. It's football season, eat, sleep, and drink it. But there's different levels to the folks that love ball. And you were on that top tier, man. When you break down film, when you look at the all-22, when you could tell me about schemes and whether or not this offensive play caller was doing this at his previous spot, so on and so forth. That's the stuff that I look to. And on your timeline, you're all over it. So, of course, we want to open up with the Eagles and the Rams and what took place on Sunday where the Eagles battled back down by 19. JP, if you could help us and take us in on the inside, it was the tale of two halves. What the hell happened in the first half? Like what happened in the first half with the Eagles? They were so bad and they can't run the football. This is now 3 straight weeks, and that's the bread and butter of the operation. So is this something that you or that Eagles fans should be concerned after what you saw in the first half? We know what took place in the second half. Unbelievable comeback. They're 3-0. But come on, man, you can't start games like that.
I think I'm a little less concerned about the way they ran the football, considering how the second half went, because a part of the reason that they weren't able to run the ball is because they haven't been able to throw the ball at all either. So they've kind of been slogging along. They've been trying to trudge their way towards victories, and they have been able to do that for a really long time. But the reason they haven't been able to run the ball, well, for the Rams game, Lane Johnson goes out, and that immediately affects the entire offense. Lane Johnson is the best right tackle in football. He is a mute button. You know you can run behind him, and you are getting instant offense. But Lane Johnson goes out, you put in Matt Pryor, and then rotate in Fred Johnson, which is when the run started popping a little bit. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out what this version of the Eagles can be and what they can do. I wonder if that includes a little bit more Jalen Hurts design runs going forward, just to kind of ease up a little bit of the stress on Saquon Barkley as a runner. But I'm not as worried about their lack of a run game right now, simply because they were able to figure out and remember what makes the Eagles so difficult to defend in the second half.
So, look, I'm with you, right? And I think we're all in agreement when you lose a guy like Lane, that's going to have an impact. Of course, it feels like Saquon, even though he was limited and hasn't hit a 100-yard mark, but still has had some pretty good runs in that Kansas City game, of course. And we know the type of player he is, that he is going to take bodies with him, whether he's slipping out the backfield or he eventually will hit that 100-yard mark. Hell, he might go for 200. Who knows? So it's not all that concerning at this point in time, but it did hit a certain type of way looking at those numbers at halftime and the fact that they were unable to run the football. Now, of course, as you said, second half opens up and they're airing it out. Now, like, I think there's a way to go about it, and I'm not a football coach. I'm not the Nick Sirianni, so it's easier said than done from where I'm at behind the microphone. But I don't want the Eagles to come out. I really don't. I don't think you want to come out slinging it 4 wide, run and shoot style. I mean, I'm a huge fan of AJ and Devontae and Dallas Goedert in the offensive line, but like, why put yourself in that position where you might turn the football over, where you might have to battle back? So I don't think they need to air it out. And, oh, by the way, as I said, it comes back to the bread and butter. They run the football better than anybody else out there. That's the reason why they were able to have the success that they did last year. So as somebody that's kind of like, all right, I don't want them to come out going 4 wide and just gunning it. But what are you seeing right now? Maybe that might be the way to go about it, the way the defenses are playing them.
I think the biggest reason for some of the run game struggles early through the first few games of the season, and then some of the passing game struggles, you get Dallas Goedert back. And I don't think people really give Dallas Goedert enough credit for what he does within the Eagles offense. Because Dallas Goedert is a really good run blocker, you can stay in 11 personnel, 1 tight end, Saquon Barkley, and have 3 receivers on the field and still be one of the best teams at running the football because you don't have to add bigger bodies onto the field. But because Dallas Goedert was hurt, you had to add Calcaterra on the field. He's not as good of a blocker. You had to add another tight end on the field, Kylan Granson, I believe. Also not as good of a blocker. So you're just constantly trying to get big to run the ball, and that forces teams to get big as you get big, and you're just running into a brick wall. And what you found in the second half, I think, outside of the passing game, was you found Dallas Goedert in the middle of the field. Until the Rams game, Jalen Hurts had not thrown a pass in the intermediate area of the field. It was all deep shots, short passes. It felt like watching 2023 again. But with Dallas Goedert on the field, you're able to blend a little bit more of the offense. You're able to actually just attack all 3 levels of the field. So I think with having Goedert back in the lineup, he really helps blend what they want to do as a running game and passing game. And you just have there's so many questions you have to try and defend if you are trying to defend the Eagles. It's the run game. It's Jalen Hurts' threat as a runner. It's trying to defend A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And, oh, yeah, Dallas Goedert is on the field now, and he's running right past your linebacker for a touchdown. So at their best, they have so many questions that you want to force the defense to answer because they can't answer them all.
Yeah, and to your point, the Grant Calcaterra blocking refs are a tough watch when you dive in and take a peek at this. But I did want to ask kind of a broader question about the offensive line as a whole, because we've known for years to this point that the Eagles have been very heavily investing in the trenches, and that's going to be their identity. They're going to win up front. It feels to me through the start of this season that almost the success of the offensive line is more reputation than production for this season. Are you a little bit like fearful that there is, because obviously you're constantly plugging holes? No more Mekhi Becton. Lane Johnson goes out, which is a big deal last week. But I think in all 3 games, it hasn't been the level of dominance up front. I think that directly ties to Saquon Barkley not finding his lane and really the filter down or the shakedown of the rest of the offense. So do you have any level of concern with the offensive line as a whole right now?
I'm not super concerned, largely because I know the talent on that line and their coaching, Jeff Stoutland, is going to get them to the point where they need to be. I think losing Mekhi Becton and adding Tyler Steen gives them less physicality. They're going to be running a lot less counter, a lot less power, running a lot more zone stuff, which I think is very different from what they were doing last year. But the big thing is, if Lane Johnson is healthy, he should be fine. Landon Dickerson has been sort of nursing that back injury. It's been a little weird. And I think if he's less than 100%, you're looking at 2 guard spots that are both question marks. And that is where the biggest trouble comes from when you try and attack, especially modern offenses. You want to try and hit them through the middle of the offensive line, through the spine, and force Jalen Hurts to run and scramble outside of the pocket. So I think my worry level is low, but I am monitoring the Landon Dickerson injury because it's really hard to replace both guards in one season, especially a guy of Dickerson's caliber.
Yeah, you're right about that. JP Acosta from CBS Sports HQ joining us right now, talking little birds, and we'll put the bow on the Rams game again. They won. It's like,
a win is a win.
Yeah, you listen to me, you might not think that they won that game, but what a great comeback it was. And the 2 boys up front, as far as getting those big paws in the air, blocking both field goals between Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. More of that, please. Now, they're going to need a little bit more of that with the next opponent. They head down to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs, who are also 3-0. What are you seeing so far in the early part of the season, JP, as far as the Bucs are concerned? I feel like last year, am I wrong to say that they were a little bit more explosive, a little bit more, a little variety, a little bit more Bucky Irving, getting him involved in the pass game? Of course, Liam Cohen was calling plays then. Now you get a new play caller in there, but they're still 3-0. Baker's winning football games. They're dealing with a ton of injuries right now. Eagles are 3-point favorites. Is the wrong team favored in your mind?
I think the Eagles are correct to be favored here because Mike Evans is going to be out for this game. You also will not have Tristan Wirfs for this game. They're all-pro, all-world left tackle. Chris Godwin will also not be available. You don't have Kalijah Kancey, their leading pass rusher at defensive tackle. They are just injured completely, especially on the offensive line where I mentioned Wirfs, but they're also missing Luke Gedeke, their very good right tackle. Cody Mock is out for the season. So you have to replace 3 of your 5 starters. And still somehow they are 3-0 because I think this is the best Baker Mayfield has played since he's entered the NFL. He has been so explosive as a passer, while he's also not taking a lot of negative, chaotic plays. You see the scrambles, you see I think Baker Mayfield is a DB in a quarterback's body. He plays the game with a mentality of a defensive back. So you see some of the scrambles, you see some of the recklessness, but it's a controlled recklessness, something that the Bucs need, especially because they don't have their offensive line fully intact. I do think the Eagles are right to be favored in this game, but I am going to be seeing if this Eagles team can put some points up on a Todd Bowles defense that has given Jalen Hurts a lot of fits.
Yeah, you're right about that. And with the injuries, what are you seeing as far as your expectations on Sunday? How are the Bucs going to score if they are going to come out on top? Do you think it's going to be Bucky Irving getting that run game going, or do you think they're going to lean on Ibuka, of course, the rookie who's been having a tremendous start to the season? A lot of expectations are on his plate right now, but it seems like he's ready for the moment. If the Bucs are going to have success on Sunday going up against the Eagles defense, where is it coming from?
I think they're going to have to be very good at running the ball out of 11 personnel. And the reason I say 11 is because you're not going to beat the Eagles when the Eagles go big. When they have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Moro Ajomo, or they have Zadarius Smith on the outside at edge, you're not going to be able to run the ball on them. But if you get them into 11 personnel, when you get them into their nickel, where they want to stay and where they want to thrive, I think you can run the ball on them. I think the Rams ran the ball really well for the first half, especially because they had guys in tight like Puka Nacua, Jordan Whittington, able to block on the edges. I don't know if Tampa has that personnel to get that done. But Josh Grizzard and Liam Cohen both come from the McVay tree. They want to line up a lot of condensed, a lot of tight formations. I think it's going to take a lot of Bucky Irving, I think, as a runner and receiver. And then the Eagles have to contain Baker Mayfield as a scrambler, because that is where the Bucs explosives have come from this season, is Baker Mayfield and his little legs running around and getting first downs.
It's incredible, Sean Bernard, as JP correctly put, Sean McVay's tree, 39 years old. He's already got a tree. It's unbelievable. But, yeah, he is one of the better offensive coaches. I'll tell you what, back to that game. He came up small, JP. What's he doing there? Where's the – and, again, I'm an Eagles fan, so I was happy. But, like, come on, go for it on fourth down. What's going on there?
Sean McVay – I say the McVay and the McVay tree, they always put all their status points. They put all their, like, if you play video games, they put all your skill points into drawing cool plays, and you put it into all the good looks. And then you forget to put points in situational game management. And so you always get like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur has just gotten around to it. They don't go for it. Yeah, they don't go for it on fourth down. They really don't. And I think the reason the Rams lost that game, you're looking at a 4th and 1 where you're running it up the middle with a backup right guard against Jordan Davis. They immediately swamp that play, tackle for loss. You kick it on 4th down, and then you just have too many drives in the red zone that stop. And I think that's where you want to say you go for it, but I also think they left a lot of plays on the table. Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford, as good as those guys are, this is still their third week, fourth week playing together. They're still leaving a lot of plays on the table. So I think I want to see Sean McVay be more aggressive. But at this point, we're nearing maybe at a decade of Sean McVay coaching in the NFL, and this is still a thing. I think this is just him.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that he's 39 years old. He got to start when he was 30. And, yeah, we know who he is at this point in time. And if any one of those situations would have been handled differently, if they would have converted or instead of kicking the field goal, went for it, like I don't think the Eagles would have had enough time to win that game. But who knows? It's not how it played out. Eagles are 3-0, and it's been a lot of fun to break that game down, but put a bow on it and move off as they head down to Tampa Bay. Now to the rest of the NFL, and let's talk a little bit about last night and Dan Campbell, the polar opposite. Going for it on fourth down and converting the way that they did yesterday was tremendous. And of course, that led the way for the Detroit Lions to go on the road and beat the Ravens 38-30 in a game that nobody had the Lions winning. I'll tell you what, JP, every logo, you do it now on CBS Sports. You got to, if everybody on that day has one team, you got to go the opposite because it's not going to work out. Everybody on the ESPN graphic, the 3 shows, I think there was 13 total people had the Ravens logo. So I know that probably shouldn't play into the handicap, but when you see that, it just never works out. But got to give a lot of credit to the Lions and what they were able to do. And I want to start with them going for it on fourth down. But this was a team that came out sluggish. Of course, Ben Johnson removed. You get a new play caller in there, and they looked lost against the Green Bay Packers. But these last 2 games, a whole different ball game, and it's looking like the last year's Lions or the new school Lions. Where are we at, though, with that conversation as we move forward here through 3 weeks? Do you think that there's a chance that the week 1 Lions, comes back into the mix here? Or is this what we're going to see moving forward here, where a team they threw up serious points in these last 2 games, 34 and then 38 last night? Where are we at as far as the Lions discussion moving forward here?
I think rumors of the Lions' demise after week 1 were greatly exaggerated. I think the biggest thing that came from that game, and I actually think Peyton Manning said on the Manning cast on Monday talking to Jared Goff, was he has to be better communicating. Because Frank Ragnow retired in the offseason, the center, he handled all the communication up front. Not only with setting protections, but getting the guys right up front in the run game. Now you saw what Jared Goff did on Monday against the Ravens. He was the one setting protections. He was the one getting them lined up correctly on the up front there. He was the one helping get them set. So I think now that communication has kind of been streamlined through Jared Goff now, they look like the same old Lions. And I think the biggest thing that people didn't take into account when discussing the Lions this year was that maybe Dan Campbell actually has more of a say in the offense than a lot of people let on. He was the one that promoted Ben Johnson. You know, he fired Anthony Lynn and promoted Ben Johnson, and then the Lions offense became what it was. He has always had this identity as an offensive play caller or offensive mind. So I think the Lions have really started to find their groove. They ran for 224 rushing yards. It felt like a vintage Lions game. So as long as they're able to run the ball like that, they're going to go really far.
Yeah, and I misspoke. They scored 52 against the Bears last week. So that's 38 and 52. Sean Menard, quick math.
80, no, 90.
There
90,
you go. There
90,
you go. Yeah,
yeah.
that's an easy one.
Yeah.
I had that one. I kid. Yeah, that's a lot of points in 2 straight games that they were able to come out on top. Now, flipping it around, a new Ravens reality. What's going on there, JP? Your take on what the heck's going on with the Ravens? And you know, Roquan Smith, you know, Hamilton, they have some good players. They spend money on the defensive side of the ball, but they weren't getting after Jared Goff, and they were getting shoved around against that run game yesterday. Of course, now they're 1-2, and now they have to go to Arrowhead to take on a pretty hungry Kansas City Chiefs team right now that, for my money, defensively, I'll make the case that the Chiefs are better. I actually like the Chiefs in that game. They're underdogs at home. I like that aspect too as well. And they're staring at 1-3 at this point in time. So a new Ravens reality. What is the reality check for the Ravens in your mind?
I think the reality check is sometimes you got to cut out all the goofy stuff. Like that really is the biggest thing for the Ravens. Derrick Henry fumbles in the 4th quarter. This is his 3rd fumble in 3 weeks. You rarely see Derrick Henry fumble, and now he's done it to start the season in the first 3 games. The defense was missing Nnamdi Madubuike and Kyle Van Noy, which are 2 of their best pass rushers, and Madubuike does so much for them in the run game as well. But you have to force the issue a little bit defensively. You have to start being more aggressive up front, whether that be truly just loading the box. And with how much they spent and how much they invested in that secondary, you live in man coverage. You live on an island. That's why you go pay those guys. That's why Kyle Hamilton makes the money that he does. That's why you spend a 1st-round pick on Nate Wiggins. That's why you spent a lot of money on Marlon Humphrey. You go let those guys be dudes and force the other team to beat you that way. But I think they'll be fine. I think that offense is still going to be one of the best, if not the best offense in the NFL. It's just the defense has to figure out what they're going to be and how they're going to get after the passer.
Yeah, and it is funny. Like, I think the Ravens are a team that had plenty of hype coming into the season, and rightfully so. They haven't been able to get over that hump yet, and we kind of see these reactionary takes in these early parts of the season. Like, we're looking ahead at a battle next week where the loser of the Chiefs and Ravens will drop to 1-3 in that. Are there any of like the top dogs that you would say that there have been clear Achilles heels that have popped to the focus? Like, I think the Ravens, the holes have been a little bit different than I expected, mainly the defense, which Brace just brought up. But when looking at the true Super Bowl contenders, is there a team that sort of has been exposed in a way that you did not expect through the early parts of the season?
I think the easy one to go to is Kansas City, and Kansas City has the holes for plenty of reasons. We could be here all day talking about what's wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Of course, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Royals not healthy, but they cannot run the ball very well. And if you can't run the ball and you also don't have your top 3 receivers, it's going to be really hard to play offense in the NFL in 2025. I think they need to start getting under center and doing more run game that way. They're exclusively a shotgun team. But the biggest thing for Kansas City is outside of Chris Jones, they need another pass rusher. They cannot go and spend however much money they spent on George Karlaftis in the offseason and him still not be productive. You know, you're still waiting for the breakout from Omar Norman-Lott. You're still waiting for Charles Omenihu to get 100% back. You need another productive edge rusher, because outside of Chris Jones, nobody can get pressure on that team, and it puts a lot of stress on a very young secondary, guys that are stepping into new roles for the first time. So outside of the offensive issues, I think their defense gives me more pause, because that was the unit that was able to take them to a lot of their Super Bowls.
All right, JP ACOSTA, fantastic job across the board. Can't thank you enough for joining us here on a Tuesday afternoon. You can find him on all things socials. That's ACOSTA32_JP. We tweeted out from our socials as well as the station account over here, CBS Sports HQ. JP, your podcast, what you said you were doing a podcast for HQ?
Yeah, for CBS Sports, Pushing the Pile.
Pushing the Pile. Nice. Definitely will be checking that out. We'll get you out of here on this one. My co-host over here, my partner in crime, it's one of his flaws. He doesn't have many, but it's one of his flaws. He is anti-Justin Herbert for some odd reason.
Correct.
And now Justin Herbert is making him look pretty bad, albeit only through 3 weeks.
Relax. It is not time for victory laps to be run.
There is no victory laps. Quit saying the playoffs are the playoffs. We don't have playoffs till January. This guy is a top 5 quarterback.
No, he's not.
What is my co-host missing about Justin Herbert in your mind, JP? Or maybe you agree with him. I don't know.
I think emphatically Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, given the things that he has been able to do and the success he's been able to have. While this year they have no running game. They are missing Rashawn Slater. They still cannot run the ball. Najee Harris is out for the season, torn Achilles. But what he's added to his game as a scrambler, being able to make plays out of structure, he has become so less structured as a quarterback. I used to call him like a football robot because he was going to get from 1 to 2 to 3, and he's a buzzsaw at that. But his ability to win out of structure, the scrambles, the touchdown he threw to Keenan Allen on Sunday, where he's moving to his left and throws it around Nick Benito, that is one of the craziest throws of the season already. So he is still performing at a very high level, and that added scrambling portion to his game has just taken him into firmly the ranks of the elite.
Can I just throw in I'll do to respect to everybody here. What success am I missing? You say with all the success that he's got, did he win MVP that I forgot about? Did he take them on a deep playoff run that I must have slipped my mind here? Like what success has Justin Herbert actually had here?
It's really tough in the AFC to be a quarterback who is very good when you have to play with Patrick Mahomes in the division. It feels very similar to when the Eastern Conference had Michael Jordan or when the East had LeBron. There are plenty of fantastic guys. I'm a Miami Heat fan. Dwayne Wade, my favorite player ever. He had to run into LeBron until LeBron was his teammate. You had to constantly run into those guys. Justin Herbert has had the unfortunate task of playing Patrick Mahomes twice a year and also playing for the Chargers, which means something catastrophic is going to happen.
Yes.
But this year, it feels like everything is coming together.
And oh, by the way, he was playing for the Chargers, Sean Bernard. No home field advantage. It was Staley was his head coach, who I had his moments, but come on, man. Yeah, JP, you're totally right. Sean Bernard continues to be wrong, and he won't admit it. I
want these conversations to keep going. So when we get to the end of the season.
The issue is playoffs are going to come, and he's going to lose a playoff game. And then that's when he's going to say, see, I told you. It can't be that way. Dude, he's up for running for the MVP of the league. That's how well he's playing right now.
We're 3 weeks into the season. And by the way, for the playoff conversation, he's been bounced by Trevor Lawrence and the Texans here. He threw 4 interceptions against the Texans, blew a 27-0 lead at halftime. Those are the facts. That's what happened.
Look,
they play the games for a reason.
If Justin Herbert could have cloned himself 21 other times to play defense in that Jaguars game, he probably could have. He probably would have. But he unfortunately only plays one position.
JP, you're the best. Can't thank you enough for stopping by, man. Continued success. Love watching you on the screen, and we'll catch up down the road, man. Thank you for a couple minutes today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
My man, there he is. JP ACOSTA once again joining us on the Gambler Stream. Fantastic job. Always love when Sean Bernard gets told he's wrong on the way out. Love it.
For all the success Justin Herbert has had.
And Sam Street tried. He extended the olive branch on yesterday's show, and you still did not want to give it to him.
I can't. Why would I? Why should I?
Oh, you can't now. You have to be anti Justin Herbert till it's over.
For these same conversations, when we get to the end of the season, I want these conversations on the record right here. I want to remember that week 3, you're talking about Justin Herbert as MVP and that this Chargers team checks every single box that a Super Bowl contender has. Just keep all these phrases, all this stuff on the record for when we get to the crunch time.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there, man. Once again,
my Lord.
Great job by JP. Make sure you follow him on socials. All right, coming up on the other side, we do a thing called Tuesday Tells, and it's where we look ahead to the games. Now, here's the bottom line. When these numbers come out Sunday night, the movement that you see immediately as far as sportsbook is concerned, that's when you have to hop on it. But it's tough because you don't know who's hurt. You don't know who's playing. You don't know what's going to happen with this team, that team, whatever. Tuesday is the perfect time to look at these numbers where they started on Sunday night and where they're at right now and predict where they will be come kickoff on Sunday afternoon. We're going to do that on the other side. It's called Tuesday Tells. He's Sean Bernard. Sometimes he's wrong. Sometimes he's early, but great stuff with JP there. I'm Sean Brace. More after this.
Spreads, totals, and all the prop bets in between. It's The Gambler.
This isn't just a game, it's a once-in-a-generation event. The Harlem Globetrotters 100-year tour. Celebrate 100 years of high-flying dunks, 100 years of show-stopping moves, and 100 years of changing the game. Bring the whole family and be part of the legacy. This game is once in a century. Be there at Xfinity Mobile Arena on March 1st. Go to HarlemGlobetrotters.com for your tickets to the 100-year tour.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Hey, Sean Brace here, and guess what? The cash contest is back. Starting next Monday, listen up for the keyword at the top of every hour, 9 times a day, and all you have to do is go to our website, and you could enter to win $1,000. That's it. The cash contest is back, happening again for the next 8 weeks right here on The Gambler. 9 times a day, top of the hour, keyword, enter to win $1,000. Who hooks you up more than The Gambler? Nobody.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much. I also have other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain, and I thought something's really off. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. It's a condition that gets worse over time, so starting treatment early is important. Talk to your cardiologist today to see if you have ATTR-CM. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
CEOs You Should Know, brought to you by Comcast Business.
Tony O'Donovan, President and CEO of Arkema Inc. Well, Arkema is a specialty materials company. Our purpose is to bring sustainable solutions to the world, which really means that we're bringing a lot of materials to companies that impact people's lives. You see them in a lot of products that you touch day to day. We have composites that can be completely recycled. Probably our biggest aspect is providing durability for materials that our customers can use. So whether it's a 3D printed machine part that can be used and that's stronger than steel used in aerospace, we see ourselves very much as part of the community. For instance, our partnership with Habitat for Humanity brings the ability to be part of the community, support Philadelphia. Our employees really enjoy volunteering and seeing the impact they bring to people's lives, particularly around areas of education. Plus, one of our areas that we are in the market of is sport. So that brings about our association with the Philadelphia Union Foundation. If I look at Philadelphia compared to other places I've lived, we have really good people that are very well internationally connected, highly educated, and a good sense of community, and really tie into some of the values that Arkema likes to portray around solidarity, inclusion, performance. Those are values we want to have, and the people fit really well. So we find that people that join Arkema from the Philadelphia region are really successful with us.
To find out more, go to Arkema.com. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
It takes decades of hard work to buy a home, but the hard work doesn't stop there. At Rocket Mortgage, we believe your home is an active investment, not a passive one. So let's put it to work. When you unlock home equity, you unlock new doors for your family, renovations, extensions, even buying your next property. Get started today with smarter tools and guidance from real mortgage experts. Find out how at rocketmortgage.com. Rocket Mortgage LLC, licensed in 50 states, NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. So we're helping you with deals on top brands like Scott's, Pit Boss, Cobalt, and Trex Decking. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
The Phillies host Miami. That'll start a 3-game series tonight. Christopher Sanchez starts on the mound for Philadelphia. NFL Next Gen Stats found Eagles defensive tackle Jordan Davis reached a top speed of over 18 miles an hour on his scoop and score. That's the fastest ever for a guy his size. And Scotty Scheffler and several U.S. Ryder Cup team members say they'll be donating their pay for playing in the event this year to charity. I'm Scott Davidson.
The NFL season is rolling. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SPORTS to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. That's code SPORTS only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
In Bucks County, Route 1 southbound, all lanes are blocked at the Trenton-Marshville Bridge with a crash. Traffic at a standstill from Perry Street and northbound calling approaching the scene. Only the right lane gets by. Eastbound Schuylkill calling Boulevard to Montgomery Drive with a crash. Only the right lane gets by. All right, to tell it, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by ParkWiz.
Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
Stop settling for weak sound. It's time to level up your game and bring the boom. Hit the town with the ultra-durable LG X Boom portable speaker and enjoy vibrant sound wherever you go. Elevate your listening experience to new heights because, let's be real, your music deserves it. The future of sound is now with LG X Boom. And for a limited time, save 25% at LG.com with code FALL25. Bring the boom. X Boom.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check for your wallet first before hitting the drive-thru.
$6.
Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Jackson hands it to Henry. Ball's out. Picked up by the Lions. They've got it inside the 20-yard line. DJ Reed with the football in his hands. The Lions stripped it away from Derrick Henry. What a big turn of events, and the Lions have got it now.
Crazy right now. 3 games straight. That happened to in my career. Great fumbles in critical moments. Yeah, man, I apologize to Rock Nation, and I'll just gonna keep working and get this fixed.
They say Flock Nation? Is that what the Ravens?
I believe so. I initially thought he said Rock Nation. And I was running back in my head trying to figure out what that made sense. So Flock Nation, I think you got it.
Flock Nation, stand up. That was Derrick Henry and the Detroit Lions radio network with the great call, of course. Derrick Henry with a crucial fumble. They were down 28-24, plenty of time to go down the field and find a way to score a touchdown. There was 8 minutes left, so who knows what would have taken place.
Score a couple times.
Yeah, it's just, I knew that they were getting the 30-point mark. I knew that it was going to happen. I'm like, just get them the ball with a minute left. They will find a way to score a touchdown. It was a great touchdown at the end of the game, but that was a huge turning point of the game. But at the same time, the Detroit Lions were the better team from start until finish. They ran the football. They played much better defense than Baltimore. They actually got after Lamar. They were playing. How about the goal line stand, right? Like, I feel like they made Lamar and JP pointed out, it's like, quit being so cute at times, right? That was one of those times where I think Lamar, and we've seen it. Look, he is where's Jansen on that one? Because in that stretch, it wasn't the best play calling, but like you got to be more decisive with what you're going to do. This can't be where I'm going to drop back and then I'm such good of an
football.
Backyard football. It's like, wait a minute, man, that's not going to work.
It's great when it works, but the hit rate is not all that successful.
But that's a really good defense over there with some good time players. Like Hutchinson's a badass of a player. When he's in your face, like you got to get rid of the football some way, somehow. So I didn't like the play calling. It starts there, but Lamar didn't do himself any favors either.
Yeah, and I will say my number one takeaway is just that was a big boy victory by the Detroit Lions. So I was a bit of a Lions skeptic coming into the season. I thought that they would feel the loss of the coordinators a bit more than seems to be the case. And I do think that there were a ton of overreactions on what seems to be a pretty good Packers team, pretty much dismantling them in game one. And by the way, Packers got to be taking their lumps a little bit after this weekend too. But I think that last night, my takeaway is that was a grown-up victory by the Lions. That was a statement performance that they're right in this NFC and Super Bowl contention mix. And I didn't feel that way before last night, so it certainly was something that changed my mind there.
All right. Tuesday tells with the $sign at the end of the tells. Replace the S with the $sign. This is the time to lock in. We look ahead to all things NFL Week 4. We talk about where the number opened, where we're at on a Tuesday, and of course, where we will be at come Sunday at Kick, Thursday as well. You know the dance. So let's have some fun here. We open up Thursday Night Football. We got the Cardinals and the Seahawks, Sean Bernard. The Cardinals at home opened up as a 2.5-point favorite. Flipped. Seahawks are now favored 1.5. It's looking like most shops. DraftKings, more importantly here, has the Seahawks currently as a 1.5 favorite. What's that telling you?
I think they're on the right side now, that I do think the Seahawks are deservingly the favorite in this game. And I think it was impossible not to be impressed by the level that they poured on points this weekend to really change things there. I don't think Seattle's like good in the mix. I don't think they're quite that caliber, but I certainly don't think the Cardinals are either. I think that there's a lot more of a good baseline with the Seahawks team than I feel about Arizona. Sign me up for the Seahawks taking care of business and covering that spread there.
Yeah, Seahawks was one of my survivor pool plays, and that was an easy one. Again, I think you have to look at the opponent more than anything right now, and if they're playing the New Orleans Saints, which, oh, by the way, the Buffalo Bills are, you should probably take a flyer on them to win that game. But Seattle has come out and looked impressive, specifically throwing the football. You got Njigba, who's doing big things. He had a touchdown. You got Cooper Kupp, who's getting in the mix, who hasn't done a lot, but still they're slinging it right now. Sam Darnold, 14 of 18, 218, 2 touchdowns in that game. Nice victory by the Seahawks there. All right, next game up, Vikings and Steelers here. Carson Wentz looked pretty good back there for the Minnesota Vikings.
Upgrade at quarterback from JJ McCarthy potentially?
I can't. I mean, after one game,
have pretty much similar sample size what we got from JJ so far.
Yeah, I just feel like we know what Carson Wentz is at this point in time.
I kind of think we know what JJ McCarthy is.
Oh, come on. He's played 2 games and it's moving fast for him. He's got more intangibles, more athleticism than Carson Wentz. No doubt about that. I don't know if that's what you want right now, but look, Kevin O'Connell's got to wear a little of that too. Wasn't he the chosen one?
I mean, seemingly, I don't know. I think Carson definitely has a better arm. I'm just not a JJ McCarthy.
Carson Wentz has a better arm than JJ McCarthy?
Like, definitely.
No.
Arm strength was never a problem for Carson Wentz. It was decision making. It was holding on to the ball. There's a ton of other stuff.
JJ's got a rifle, I feel like.
So does Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has a cannon.
Carson Wentz 30. Well, how old is he? 30, 32?
Are we sure that JJ McCarthy can throw the ball 50 plus yards? Because we haven't seen it in the NFL yet.
Come on, man.
We haven't seen it at Michigan either.
All right. Well, I was never a diehard JJ McCarthy fan, but the Minnesota Vikings clearly were. And I don't think you can start him and then expect greatness from a rookie quarterback. I get it, second year. Carson Wentz was brought in to be the backup. So I think we already know our answer there, regardless of what takes place in Ireland at 9:30 on Sunday. Steelers and Vikings. This one opened up Vikings as a 1.5 favorite, looking like 2.5 right now.
Yeah, I don't love the direction for either side here. I'd probably go with Pittsburgh in this just because I think you can catch lightning in a bottle once with a backup quarterback, and that sort of felt like the case with Minnesota. I also think way too much positivity was brought about Jake Browning coming into that game.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Trying to talk about this guy like he could be a solution. He's Jake Browning at the end of the day. He's a backup quarterback for a reason there. I get that Carson Wentz is in a much different outlook there, but there just is like a baseline of expectations for for a Minnesota offense there that I do think translates. Ultimately, I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to mess this game up, make it physical, and have enough to get the victory, but I think it's going to be a sloppy game of football.
All right, Eagles and Bucks, a game we've already discussed a lot, but it did open up Birds as a 1.5 favorite. Most shops are showing 3.5. It's not what I'm seeing right now at DraftKings, so we'll just say an even 3, or excuse me, a flat 3, not an even. Actually bumped up. Now DraftKings 3.5. Eagles favorite here. Money coming on the Birds. Maybe they were listening to JP because he made me a believer in the Birds winning that game. And that line is absolutely telling you that the Birds are going to come out on top. Your thoughts, though, Sean? What's this one telling you?
Yeah, I'm nervous about this one from an Eagles perspective. I won't lie. I think the Bucks
should be.
Yeah, not only have the Eagles had direct trouble with this matchup, I think the Bucks need to be talked about like a legitimate contender in the way that they're not right now in the NFC. I get that the Lions are there. I get that the Eagles are there. Who else can you legitimately look me in the eyes right now and tell me you have a better chance than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because I don't think there's another answer above them there. You want to make the Commanders case? You want to make the Packers? I guess you can have that conversation. I still think Tampa Bay is the real deal, man. That offense is something special. I think the outcome of this game this week depends on which side of the playbook they lean on, meaning the first half of last week or the second half of last week. If they come out guns blazing, if they're ready to meet that level of offensive production, the Eagles can win this football game. If you're trying to play conservative and soak up clock and run the football, I think you're going to get the short end of the stick, and this is a team that will give them their lesson.
I'd say the 49ers before Bosa went down would be a team that I would look at. I'd say the Rams, too. I'd have to, right? Like, I get it. They played a bad half.
Yeah.
They were pretty good in that first half. Got to find the even mix if you can. Easier said than done, though. Only 3 games in. You're right, though. I could get down with the Tampa Bay Bucks love, and it wouldn't shock me if they're in the NFC Championship game, Sean Bernard. All right, next one up. As I pointed out, the Buffalo Bills will probably be my survivor pool play. They're at home. This one opened up at 12.5. Now 16.5 point favorites against New Orleans Saints. Not a lot of breakdown needed here. Your thoughts, though?
I think the Saints are that bad that it's kind of a stay away spot for me. I can't in good faith back the New Orleans Saints pretty much in any individual matchup of the NFL. So I think I'm going to rock with that mindset.
Spencer Rattler, I think the first time ever in NFL history to a starting quarterback to lose his first 9 starts, I want to say, is what I read.
Not good.
Kellen Moore, what were you thinking, man? I know you wanted to be the head coach of an NFL franchise. We were saying it then, and I'm saying it even louder now. This was a mistake, and it's not going to work out for him down there. Keep it moving. Let's talk about the Panthers and the Patriots. Patriots opened up as a 3.5 point favorite, bumped up to 5.5. Panthers showing some life. Big time victory over the Falcons where they lumped them 30-0. Got to give them some credit there. They're catching 5.5 on the road against New England. Your thoughts?
I think I'm riding with my Carolina Panthers here.
I know.
Finally, Bryce Young, show me a little something. I didn't think it was a spectacular game by him, but I have as much Bryce Young stock as anyone could possibly own. I got to recoup my investment somehow. And the New Orleans Patriots, man, are we sure that Drake maybe is the guy? That can he be that type of guy? The interception I did not like. I am enjoying the new nickname of Drake maybe. I'm going to rock with that a little bit there. I think the Patriots maybe we put the cart before the horse a little bit too much. They're still not that great of a football game. They can be sneaky on a week-to-week basis, but I'm taking the Panthers to cause a little bit of trouble in this one.
Yeah, look, they lost to the Raiders. That tells you a little bit to open up the season. Vrabel was really giving the game away down the stretch. They have a lot of holes, offensive line, defensive line. Who's the number one receiver for?
Should be
Drake
Stephon
May?
Diggs.
Yeah, come on, man.
It hasn't looked good.
Yeah, but Diggs is not a number one at this point in time in his career. He wasn't, like we saw him play last year, right? Like he just clearly is not the same guy that he once was. I mean, he's up there. He's up there in age.
Yeah.
He's partying on a boat with pink stuff, Cardi B. That's his life right now. He's ready to ride off into the sunset. But
Did you see his quote about having the kid with Cardi B too?
Something like, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know,
it's like your child.
People
I
just,
heard that.
I guess the bank account is saying a lot, and Cardi B has a lot. He has a lot. I don't know. God bless him. I hope they're happy. With that being said, though, if you made me make a pick right now, that is a lot of points, 5.5. I'd be really interested to see Carolina come kickoff. Hopefully money continues to come into Patriots. We'll continue to look at that one. Commanders and Falcons, 1:00 kick on Sunday. Commanders, they are on the road here. 3.5-point favorites opened. Marcus Mariota looked pretty good. Nothing too crazy, but in the world of fantasy, he threw up some points. I know he was a top 5 quarterback this week.
Yeah.
They are now a 1.5 favorite, so I assume no Jaden Daniels again this week.
Yeah, it does seem like they're playing it conservative there, and given the track record of, quarterbacks in the Commanders organization, the RG3 throwback rings in everyone's mind, I do think it is the safe choice there. I will say that last week, for all the excitement I've had about the Atlanta Falcons, that was a performance that straight up made me rethink how I view this team.
Same.
Getting 30-0 against the Carolina Panthers is not just a wash your hands and move on kind of performance. That is a reevaluate everything type of chance there. And Marcus Mariota looked like he was feeling himself a little bit last week. He was getting mobile. He was taking on the run himself. I was encouraged by what I saw. So I think I'm taking a full step back off my Atlanta Falcons hype train and probably back in the Commanders for this specific matchup.
Yeah, I was hopeful that somebody would dethrone the Tampa Bay Bucks in that division. There was only one team that I could find myself backing. It was the Falcons, and it's not looking good. Although they did play well in that week 1 matchup against the Bucks, but they ended up coming up small and losing 30-0 to the Carolina Panthers.
It's embarrassing.
That was awful. So a lot of question marks happening right now down there in Atlanta.
They've got some dudes on that roster too, man.
They got great players across the board. You're right. Browns and the Lions. This one's a 10.5-point spread, opened up on Sunday night. Now we're looking at 9-point spread. Lions at home. Favored by 9 at most shops, taking on a pesky Cleveland Brown team. Joe Flacco getting the job done, but come on, man, it's the defense. Defense is really good. Of course, Myles Garrett's chasing you down. That's going to shock a lot of systems out there as far as quarterbacks are concerned. A 9-point spread, though, one too many for your liking. What's this one telling you?
Yeah, a little too much on the number for my liking. I like Cleveland to keep it a game and cover. I do put a little bit of weight in the victory over the Packers. Obviously sticking in the same division, now taking on the Lions this week. And I think there are some weaknesses that can be exposed on Detroit. I do think that this Cleveland defense is the real deal that's going to impose itself in this matchup. I think Detroit finds a way to win a game, but 9 points just a little bit too much for my liking. I'm backing Cleveland to be a little bit one of these spread ruiner type teams for the remainder of the year.
All right, we're talking about teams that are disappointing with the Atlanta Falcons. Right next to them on that list, the Houston Texans.
Oof.
Wow. 0-3 versus 0-3 Texans and Titans game being played in Houston. This one opened up at 5.5. Who are the Houston Texans to be given a touchdown to? They're now 7-point favorites. Yeah, Titans are pretty bad. So I would take the Texans in some way in this game, but I'm not comfortable laying a touchdown here. What's this one telling you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Titans to cover as well. And the Texans offensive line is just straight up non-existent, man. Like CJ Stroud out there running for his life. He doesn't have a second to think with the football. And he just has not looked like the right version of himself either. I give him the benefit of the doubt because of the offensive line, but we're getting pretty close to needing to have a legitimate CJ Stroud conversation there. So the 7 points is just too much for my liking. I don't think that the Texans should be a whole touchdown favorite against any team in the NFL. And while the Titans aren't good, I think there's enough level of competence there that they'll at least keep this a game. I like what I've seen from Cam Ward, even though the numbers have not necessarily been there yet. There's enough talent there that I'm comfortable laying the 7.
Yeah, it's crazy because they do have a a great defense. I'm not afraid to say it. I think the Houston Texans have a great defense.
No more CJ Gardner-Johnson, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting. That happened on my way in, and you said it to me when we sat down. What exactly was the reason for termination?
Fracture in the locker room, I believe, was one of the phrases from the reporters out there, which seems on brand.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me the least bit. Would you pick him up if you're Howie Roseman?
I feel like he's got to be such a nightmare to deal with, man. Like that's kind of where I'm at with things. Howie said he's had enough of him twice. He brought him in for the first Super Bowl run, and CJ was a terrific football player.
He was incredible. He was the only guy that made an interception,
Yeah.
I think, last year.
Yeah. By the way, we do have a little bit more notable breaking news that just popped across. This coming from Adam Schefter here. That Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer will undergo surgery Wednesday to address a right hand injury he sustained against Auburn. Venables said the expectation is Mateer will return to action at some point this season. There goes the Heisman. Straight
wow.
Up. Yeah.
What? I didn't even know he got hurt.
I didn't either. Surgery to address a right hand injury. So it doesn't even say what the issue is exactly.
Whoa. That is brutal.
That's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, because they were playing great.
Yeah. He's the Heisman favorite, has been for several weeks now.
Correct. Well, just the way that they were able to find a way to win that game against Auburn and cover the number, which was very unfortunate. But Oklahoma was putting it together to the point that, you look down their schedule, and that's the difficult part about trying to find who's going to win the conference and do more. It's just, there's a lot of football to be played. And yeah, you look down the list of SEC teams, and it seems like LSU still has Alabama, and Tennessee has to play this team, and Ole Miss is on everybody's schedule. So it's like, I can't sit here and tell you that I think Oklahoma is going to win the conference, but I will tell you that they have had the look so far in some pretty big games. Michigan and Auburn, those were both big victories. And, oh, by the way, coming on the road and defeating Temple the way that they did, they deserve a lot of credit. Putting a team away that you're better than they are. So coming on the road at noon kickoff on the East Coast, I didn't think that was a ho-hum game, and they slaughtered them. So that is a monster loss. Of course, he's the Heisman favorite, as you said, and Oklahoma playing for potentially winning the SEC if they were able to continue their winning ways. That's a tough loss, man. That sucks.
Yeah, that is a conference or a really college football changing kind of injury there. And I can't find any sort of information for what the specific injury is, at least that has come out yet. That obviously very much depends on what the timeline is. They said they expect him to return at some point this season, but that's not exactly convincing for that will be in the short term by any means. So it's definitely something to note there.
Yeah, that's a fractured hand or something that he couldn't throw the football with. And then he said, you know what, it's not worthwhile to allow this to heal over the next 2 weeks. So get in there and get it fixed. He must have, thrown a football and hit a helmet or something, or got tackled and, just anything. Yeah, I'm clearly speculating, but if he didn't need surgery, he wouldn't be getting surgery.
Right.
That's
definitely not right now.
No.
Like when you're in the hunt for it, when you're the Heisman favorite, when the team is playing at the level, you avoid at all costs if you can. So obviously something pretty significant.
I wonder what he got paid this offseason. Let's keep it moving here. And let's talk about the Chargers and the Giants. Jackson Dart, come on down. This would be an interesting game here. 3.5. Chargers at home. They opened up the favorite up to 6.5 right now. 6.5. Not that much line movement with the announcement that Jackson Dart replacing Russell Wilson, either a rookie quarterback getting his first start on. No, this is a home game. Excuse me. Giants are home, correct?
Not sure.
Yeah, Giants are home. So this is a home game for Jackson Dart. Tough game against the Chargers, though, because you're going to have to match up with that offense. 6.5 right now. What's that line telling you?
Yeah, the 3.5 would have absolutely stunned me. So not surprised to see that number move pretty significantly. I still think 6.5 is a little bit light, to be perfectly honest. This is a quarterback being thrown to the fire for the first time. And that Chargers defense is the real deal, man. That I think that is the storyline to watch in this game is how does Jackson Dart hang in there against what is truly one of the better defenses in the entire NFL. So I do think the Chargers roll in this one. I do think they cover the -6.5. And I think that New York is kind of heading towards disaster a little bit this year. They've played the emergency button of provide some excitement, put us on the right path. Well, it feels a little bit early to be playing that card.
I mean, there was way too much conversation on my timeline about an 0-3 team. Oh, by the way, both New York teams 0-3. 0-6 between those two teams. Disaster over there in the Meadowlands. Let's keep it moving. Like I said, enough about the Giants. Jags and Niners. Niners opened up 5.5-point favorites, now 3-point favorites. So money coming in on the Jags here. What's the latest with Brock Purdy?
I do not know exactly that. I know that it was a chance that he could play, that he has not been ruled out yet.
He could return as a starter, so we don't know, but this is a good time to check in. Mac Jones has played okay. They found a way to win that game against the Cardinals. Tough division battle, but it's looking like Purdy will return. If that's the case, he'll be back in there on Sunday.
Yeah, most likely there. And I will say, Mac Jones, what a seamless transition to like the entertaining backup quarterback. That's just kind of who he is. I was watching his press conference this week, and he was talking about the pick he threw, and they're like, what kind of play did he make, or did the defender make that you weren't expecting? I mean, he was like, yeah, I mean, good for him. I threw it right at him. So it was my fault there, which I kind of appreciated. But yeah, nonetheless, I do think that I have concerns about both these teams. I don't buy that the 49ers are legitimate contenders in the way that coming into the season. I also think Jacksonville has some real issues, that Trevor Lawrence has yet to impress me. I even think in a week like last week, where CJ Stroud came up looking like the bigger loser of things for what his performance looked like. But Lawrence had some misses too, man. The footwork is sloppy. The receivers don't look to be on the same page as him. I'm, from a betting perspective, bang the under for this game, that I don't see a lot of points coming on. If you made me pick a side, it's probably Jacksonville, but very narrow in that.
Yeah, look, no Bosa either for the 49ers. That's going to be so deflating for that defense. A tough loss. Colts and Rams. Let's get to the 4 o'clock window, although the Jags and 49ers were 4 o'clock as well. Colts and Rams also in the 4 o'clock window. Rams at home opened up to 6.5, now 3.5 point favorites. Money coming in on Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, whatever you got to say. This Colts team undefeated. Are they for real?
I think it's time to start talking about Daniel Jones as an MVP candidate, Sean
Stop
Briggs.
it.
Hey, we're going to base everything off 3 games here. Daniel Jones, top 5 quarterback in the league.
You won't let me say that about Justin Herbert, but you're going to say it about Daniel Jones, who beat the Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins?
Well, that's my point here, that we're reacting to 3 games. I'll take Daniel Jones. Like, he's been unbelievable. And I will say, like, as much as I'm saying this in jest right now, some of the throws that he's making, I didn't think that was in Daniel Jones' bag. I did not think these were like.
Calm down.
I mean,
calm down. What throws?
Some impressive throws.
How many times has he thrown for 2 touchdowns in the game this year?
Let's check the stats.
Not once.
Is that for sure true?
Yes, he's got an unbelievable run game with Jonathan Taylor. Great defense. Look, Daniel Jones, I get it. He's playing a lot better than what I gave him credit for. But come on.
He's also got 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he's got 6 touchdowns total. I count him the same.
All right. So do you think that this is as successful as Minnesota was last year with Sam Darnold and what they were able to do? Because that was a team that we never wanted to give credit. And then all of a sudden at the end of the season, they're playing for the division and everything was there at their disposal. Of course, they came up small, but that's Sam Darnold. Is that what you're saying right now about the Indianapolis Colts? Because I can't get there yet. I just can't.
I'm viewing Daniel Jones in the light that I think we viewed the Baker Mayfields, the Geno Smiths, the guys that did not get it right at the first location. It has passed the eye test to me. And the other part that I'll note for this is hilarious to me, that for the entire tenure of him in New York, we talked about Daniel Jones going to get DeBull fired here. He might get him fired while he's in Indianapolis for what he looks like now.
Yeah, it's look, I am not rooting against Daniel Jones, and hell, man, I'm with the Colts. I love the Irsay, I love the daughters on the sideline. I think that's hysterical. I love it. It's great. Not hysterical, excuse me, but the bottom line is these girls are running the operation. They got the the earpiece in there. She's trying to learn. It's great. Love it. And they're putting it together. I'm just not buying it right now. I'm not buying it, but it won't shock me if we're talking about this 2-3 weeks from now. And I'm like, all right, I was wrong. Bears and Raiders. Let's keep it moving. 1.5. Bears favored to open up. They are now holding steady. Let's just say a point. Sorry, I need my glasses.
You're good. I'll go.
No. So it's flipped. Bears opened up as a 1.5 favorite. There's one shop. This is crazy. There's 1 shop, 2 shops out there that still are holding steady as a point favorite. The majority, though, are looking at 1.5. They're now a 1.5 dog. Raiders are favored at home.
I like the Raiders to get the outright win here, and I'll take the point if I need to. I think this is a nice letdown spot for the Bears, that it felt like things finally went right in the direction that they needed, that they did essentially blow out the Cowboys last week. The Caleb Williams having a little bit of stuff to build off. Ben Johnson getting his first career win as a head coach there. I think this Raiders team's completely competent. I don't think we've seen Geno Smith really play well at all yet. I think he puts things together a little bit this week, and I'm still skeptical of Chicago in the wider scheme of things. So give me the Raiders. I think this is a letdown spot for the Bears.
Ravens and Chiefs. We talked about this game already. It opened up a 1.5 for Kansas City. Now Baltimore favored by 2.5. Where are you at, Sean?
I'm torn because I loved what JP said about like the concerns with the Chiefs offense. And I do think that's very true, that there really is not anything sustainable. And if you do want to look at this Ravens team, that's exactly what they do have. When you have Derrick Henry, when you have Lamar Jackson, and ways to get production on that side of the ball here, at the same time, if this becomes a one-possession game, there's no doubt in my mind that Patrick Mahomes is going to come for the throat and find a way to get the job done here. I think that's where I'm at, that I think the Chiefs find a way to win, even if they are not the better team on paper.
All right, next game up. How about this one? Would you like to have Green Bay on the road -1.5? Now up to 7. Opened at 1.5, up to 7, taking on the Cowboys here. Dallas +7 at home.
Wow, I'm surprised by that level of line movement. I still think I'm laying the 6.5 in favor of the Packers here. There's a real world where we're talking about this Dallas Cowboys team as like a top 5 pick kind of team.
Absolutely.
They are heading down that pathway for the season. The defense is non-existent. The running game is non-existent. The production across the board just not good enough. And I think Green Bay, this could be an inspired performance after losing on the block against the Browns last week. We build them up to be legitimate contenders. It's on them this week to prove that that is the case.
CeeDee Lamb will be out. That's a huge deal. No offense for the Cowboys across the board with him out, not out on the field for them, so I can understand it. Oh, by the way, Micah Parsons wreaking havoc. Yeah, I could get behind the pack on that one as well, but I would love to be given 1.5 instead of 7. And then we go to Monday Night Football. 2 for a rapid fire. Jets and Dolphins, 5.5-point favorites now to 3. And the Cincinnati Bengals and Broncos in the nightcap. Broncos 2.5 up to 7 right now. Sean Bernard, give me one here.
Yeah, give me the Jets on the money line for those +130 odds I'm seeing right there. The Miami Dolphins stink, man. I don't understand that line. Give me the Jets. And to give the bonus pick as well, I do think Denver, a little bit of a blowout here. 7.5, I'll lay the number.
Woo! Sean Bernard, fantastic stuff. Find them on all things socials. Holding it down for the folks over at DK Network and Crossing Broad as well. Hey, Larry Henry Jr. is going to join us on the other side. I want to talk a little Philadelphia Union. It's always great to get Larry in on the program. He's got a Substack on the Philadelphia Eagles. We get his take on the game from Sunday as well as the trip to South Florida, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Daily Ticket rolling on. More after this.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it. It's The Gambler.
iHeartRadio brings you Global Citizen Festival 2025 from New York City at Central Park's Great Lawn. Live performances from Shakira, Cardi B, Tyla, Ira Starr, Mariah the Scientist, Camilo, and many more. All hosted by Hugh Jackman. Join the movement changing the world at globalcitizenfestival.com. Hear the entire festival live all day this Saturday on the free iHeart app's Global Citizen Radio and on Hit Nation at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Spot you want to avoid this afternoon. Route 1 in Bucks County southbound. All lanes are blocked at the Trent-Marshville Bridge with a crash cleanup. Traffic at a standstill back to Perry Street and northbound. And crawling between Bridge Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. Only the right lane is getting by. Eastbound Schuylkill, Jan 202, the contracting curve with an axe on the shoulder. Further east, heavy Montgomery Drive to south. Westbound Jan University to Girard, where the off-ramp's partially blocked with a disabled vehicle and backed up Boulevard to Belmont. To tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Hey, Sean Brace here for DraftKings Sportsbook. The NFL season is rolling right along, and you can bring yourself closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. First touchdown scores, touchdown props, thrill of live in-game betting. Yeah, every snap is loaded with an opportunity. The Eagles will have an opportunity to beat the Bucs for the first time in forever in Tampa Bay. We'll see what happens on Sunday. New customers, listen up. This one's for you. Bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended. Balance due if you pay off earlier. Cancel. Finance agreement. iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99, and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Time now for your Tuesday BetMGM Baseball Buzz. The New York Yankees can clinch a playoff berth with a win over the White Sox. The Seattle Mariners can clinch a playoff berth with a win over Colorado and a Yankees win. The Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Guardians square off tonight, one game separating them in the AL Central. Step up to the plate with BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Bet on any MLB game to activate an odds boost token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. No opt-in is required. MLB trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for full terms. 21 plus. This U.S. promo offer is not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BET-TALK. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossy Casino and Hotel. That's your Tuesday BetMGM Baseball Buzz.
You took the elevator to the 48th floor and handed him the briefing. Your fingertips touched, sending a shockwave of desire through the air. The room pulsed with a silent craving as he drew you in with his smoldering gaze, before uttering the words your body ached to hear.
The next train on track 2 is delayed.
And all the while, you were on your commute home. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover romance titles on Audible.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Daily Ticket with you here live. Sean Bernard, Larry Henry Jr. is going to join us in just a second. Breaking news, if you missed it, Oklahoma stud quarterback John Mateer, the Heisman Trophy favorite after 4 weeks of action in college football, is out for at least the next month plus. He's getting surgery on his right throwing hand for a broken bone that he suffered, get this, in the first quarter against Auburn. He's a tough SOB, man. I don't know what his, like what it looks like as far as the next level is concerned, but I do like his swagger. I do like his athleticism, and he's built it up now at 2 spots. So that's something to be said about that. I would imagine somebody would take a shot at him as far as the draft is concerned, Sean.
Yeah, I think he'll get a chance for sure. But this is one of those injuries that could change like the trajectory of his career if he's not careful there. Obviously, he got off to such a strong start to the season here. It sounds like roughly a month is the expected timeline based on the broken hand, the information we know to this point. If he's able to pick things up right where he left off and lead this Oklahoma team on like a legitimate college football playoff push, there's, everything is still for the taking there, but that is easier said than done. So I guess just bookmark it for now.
All right. Joining us right now, it's always great to have Larry Henry Jr. join us on the party at the Daily Ticket, getting caught up in the world of Philadelphia Union, all things English Premier League, and Larry has a Substack/blog on the Philadelphia Eagles. You can find Larry at lhenry019. He's a man with work at many outlets, including The Athletic, so on and so forth. Always great to have you on the show, Larry. The Philadelphia Union found a way to win a game on Saturday. Only a couple games left in the MLS regular season. Catch us up here. What are we looking at right now with the Union as they are still on top of the East?
Yeah, good to be back with you guys as always. Philadelphia Union
going down to the final stretch here, 1-0 win over the New England Revolution this past weekend, which was a needed win after the 7-0 shellacking that they got from the Vancouver Whitecaps 2 weeks ago, and then the Open Cup loss that they suffered at Nashville SC in midweek. So it was important for them to get back on track. They did against a struggling New England team. They have 3 matches left, and really the Supporters' Shield is in their hands. They just have to hope that they cannot drop any points over these last 3 games. Coming up this weekend, they have DC United away. Would expect the Union to get 3 points there. DC has had a really hard season. Fired a lot of the front office recently. And then they have NYCFC at home. That'll be a tough game. NYCFC has had a really good season. And then the international break comes in October, and then they close out the season at Charlotte FC, who's already clinched the playoff spot and is actually not too far behind the Union in the East standings. The other thing for the Union is Inter Miami has a couple matches in hand and could potentially steal the Supporters' Shield if they win out and win all 6 of their matches. They have 6 matches left. Philadelphia only has 3. Miami has a game midweek. They also have a game over the international break, which isn't really easy to do when a lot of your star players like Leo Messi and others are going to likely be on international duty. But overall, I think the Union can get it done. They just have to, like I said, avoid the hiccups and keep playing the soccer that they played all season.
Currently, the Union are 4th on the odds board here at DraftKings Sportsbook. Inter Miami plus 550, Vancouver 6-1, San Diego FC 7-1, and then the Union 8-1. Yeah, Larry, the Vancouver game was very surprising, and it's from a guy that hasn't been paying that much great of attention to the full league. Vancouver, pretty darn good team, obviously second as far as the favorites are concerned, but 7-0. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, it was definitely shocking. Not a Philadelphia Union, not a performance that we're used to this season under Bradley Carnell. I know they rotated the squad pretty heavily in that match with the Open Cup semifinal only a few days later. And sometimes that's the risk you take. You rotate the squad and look at the Cup semifinal. Unfortunately, they rotated. They got a beatdown from the Whitecaps, who, like you said, is a very good team. Thomas Mueller had a hat trick on his birthday. And then they bring the full squad back against Nashville and ultimately lose that game as well, which, rules them out of that competition. Nashville heading to the final in that competition. So, it's a risky take. It was definitely disappointing to see. It was the worst loss in franchise history. And Sean, this team's been around for a while now. It was disappointing to see. But like I said, glad they were able to get back on track, get a clean sheet win against New England, a team that they should be beating. And then hopefully another win this weekend against a DC United squad that probably wants the season to end at this point with the struggles that they've had. But overall, I don't see the Union slipping up in these next 3 matches, but you never know. You never know what can happen. It's MLS.
So if the Union handle business over these next 3 games, they will win the Supporters' Shield, which will be the best record in the MLS. Is that correct?
Technically, if they win out in their 3 matches, they'll finish with 69 points. They have to actually hope for. They need. They need Miami to slip up as well. Miami has 6 matches, so right now Miami's at 52. If Miami win, that's 18 points right there. And they'll have 70 points, which would be 1 point higher than the Union.
All right. As always with the MLS, Larry, it's very similar, in my opinion, to like Major League Baseball, where it's not always the best team that wins. I get it. We've seen that last year with the Dodgers. There have been plenty of times that it's happened. But if you look in the past few seasons, like the Nationals going on the run that they did, the Diamondbacks having the success that they had, of course, the Rangers, we can go down the list of previous champions and teams that made the World Series. And it's very similar in the MLS playoffs for my money, for my take here. So teams that might not be at the top of the list, like San Diego or Vancouver, who's a team from the West that you are like, man, that's a true sleeping giant. Watch out. They could make a run once the playoffs come around here.
Yeah, the first team you mentioned, San Diego FC, the expansion team, they've done exceptionally well in their first season. We've seen expansion teams do that in the past couple of years in MLS. San Diego right now, first in the Western Conference with 57 points, a plus 18 goal differential. Mikey Varas has really assembled a really good team. Andre Stryer, who is up for the MVP, he's definitely got my vote. 15 goals, 16 assists this season for San Diego. And the players that they've been able to bring in are not a lot of stars. Yes, they have Andre Stryer. Yes, they have Herving Lozano, but they bring in some good supplementary players like Luca De La Torre with the U.S. men's national team. They bring in Patty McNair, who has a boatload of experience playing in England. CJ Dos Santos, who was a former U.S. youth national team player. So there's not too many stars on this team, but they've done really well. They played kind of defensive first, and then they've been able to just really score at will at times. I think San Diego is definitely a team to watch come playoff time. It doesn't seem like anything phases them. They've already beaten, the likes of, Minnesota United and LAFC this season. So overall, I think that's a team to watch. Another team to watch, I think, would be FC Cincinnati. They've had a really good road record this season in terms of having 32 points won on the road. So that's 2 points a game. The best road record in the league and have given the Union some trouble, not only this season, but in the past. So those are two teams definitely keep an eye on. Obviously, I think you can never count out a team like LAFC with Song Heung-min making the move from Tottenham earlier this year and scoring a boatload of goals already. And Dennis Bouanga is obviously up for, I think, MVP as well.
Larry Henry Jr. joining us to talk about the beautiful game of soccer here. And let's go ahead and shift gears and get on over to the EPL. Liverpool, they get rid of Klopp. Klopp moves on, and it's like, what? They don't miss a beat? Like, what in the hell? And you're looking at my team, United, as I always try to bring up Manchester United. There's a chance that they're going to fire this new coach. And it's like, I'm not even trying to learn anything about these new coaches anymore. They come in. They need to win like a lot, and then I'll start to learn a little bit more about these guys. But how did they figure out to move on to the next coach slot with that ease? And of course, picking up right where they left off, how great of a manager Klopp was. They're at the top of the table right now. I actually watched Liverpool over the weekend. That's a fun team to watch again.
Yeah, for sure. They've just continued to just keep on chugging along in competitions. They've really kind of showed what teams like maybe even Manchester City did in the past, where they just find ways to win. Yes, obviously having a stacked roster like they do helps, and the fact that you have to maybe rotate players in the Champions League and the League Cup and so forth, but just the unity they have is really cool to see. That never say die attitude. I know it was last week in the Champions League, up 2-0 against Atletico Madrid. Atletico come back and tie it 2-2, and then Virgil van Dijk wins it in the 92nd minute. They had a 95th minute penalty kick in the Premier League about 2 weeks ago against Burnley that Mohamed Salah scored. It's like clutch time, basically. It's like those old LeBron James years in basketball taking the game over. And I think Liverpool has really done that. And I think the squad overall, like I said, bringing in big name players, Alex Isak from Newcastle and some others as well, Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. But yeah, they've just continued. Everyone knows their role in that team. I don't think they get too disappointed if they're maybe dropped from the match at the weekend, because they know a big match is coming midweek in the Champions League. So yeah, they've continued to really just, like I said, chug along in the league. 5 wins, plus 6 goal differential. I think they'll have a tough time this weekend. They play Crystal Palace in the league. Palace, the only other unbeaten team so far in this season's Premier League, but it should be a really good match at Selhurst Park. But yeah, I think Liverpool will get it done, and who knows? It's a long season, but they could go for a while without losing a match. That's for sure.
Yeah, they got 15 on top of the table. Arsenal, Tottenham, and Bournemouth in there at 10. Crystal Palace, you just brought up, with 9. Chelsea in there with 8. As Manchester United found a way to win a game that I actually tuned in. I haven't seen them win a damn game in forever. It actually felt good to turn that game on and win 2-1. All right, Larry, again, 2026 right around the corner. World Cup. Did see Christian Pulisic has a documentary style show on Paramount on CBS yesterday. I saw that.
That'll fix Team USA.
Yeah, but I want to check that out because, look, it's not for his lack of play on the field. Like, he is living up to the expectation. And, one of the things that caught my attention, he was saying, man, when I'm done with this, I want you to look back and say Christian Pulisic changed American soccer forever. First of all, Larry, has he? And is that a little strong for you? Or do you think, he's still a young dude. He's got plenty of time. And, oh, by the way, no better time than right now with 2026 right around the corner.
I think he's definitely changed American soccer. I mean, yes, there was the guys before him, Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan and Tim Howard and Steve Cherundolo, these guys that played overseas and played Donovan not as much, but guys like Dempsey and Cherundolo played a long time overseas. Casey Keller, Tim Howard. I think Pulisic's definitely changed American soccer to be able to come through the ranks like he has and really put U.S. soccer maybe back on the map again. Made his debut when he's 17 years old for the national team and now playing for some of the biggest clubs in the world, playing for Borussia Dortmund.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
He literally are they playing right now?
He scored today in Coppa Italia. Yeah. They're playing right now.
Well,
he must have heard you.
The tweet is put out right now at CBS Galazzo, and he literally just scored right now. That's pretty cool.
I tweeted it right before we got on. I didn't see the video of it, but he scored in Coppa Italia play coming off the bench. He had 2 goals and assist over the weekend for AC Milan. He's definitely changed, I think, American soccer because now all the young kids growing up that want to play the sport, I think, are going to talk about Christian Pulisic and see that the route he's taken to come from Hershey, Pennsylvania, to go overseas, to play for these big clubs, to win a Champions League with Chelsea, to lift some other trophies as well in Germany and in Italy, playing the Champions League. I mean, it's awesome for him. And like you said, he's not old yet. He's, I think, in his prime right now, being 26. Still has, I think, a lot to offer. And who even knows? Maybe he ends his career in MLS back home in Pennsylvania. But I think he's definitely going to change. I see that eye raising. I see it. I know you want him to play for the Philadelphia Union.
In Pennsylvania, you say, huh? Did Pittsburgh get a team?
They might by then. Who knows? With how much the MLS is expanding. It's been great to see, man. I think I know Pulisic has taken his knocks in the media for some of his absences in the national team and maybe some comments he's made. But overall, I think when it's all said and done, he'll be the best American player to represent the national team for what he's done on the field and off the field as well.
Larry, you are the best. Always great to get the update of what's happening around the world of soccer. Of course, Larry does it all. Be sure to give him a follow at lhenry019. Has a great Substack on all things Eagles in the Bird's Nest. Go ahead and subscribe to that. But when it comes to the beautiful game of football, lhenry019 is where I go, and we greatly appreciate a couple minutes there. We'll catch up next week. But again, everything that is happening so fast for the Philadelphia Union. I can't believe they're in this position right now, top of the table in the East with 3 games to go. A lot of fun to watch this season, but it's about winning it all, man. That's what we need. That's the trophy that they're missing right now. So it'd be great to see them accomplish it. Well, I know we'll be all over it with you. Can't thank you enough, man. We'll continue to follow you on all things socials. Always a pleasure, sir.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
My man, there he is. The great Larry Henry Jr. on the Gambler Stream. All right, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we got a lot to do. I'm even going to throw some NBA into the conversation in the 5 o'clock hour at the end.
You see Skinny Zion?
So I made a joke last night. I did a hit on Fox Sports Radio.
Okay.
And they hit me up. And the next thing you know, they bring up the Phillies after the Eagles. I'm like, boys, city of winners. What I got to say right now? We got a lot going on. And of course, the dude Calvin goes, wait a minute, man. Let's talk about the Sixers then. I'm like, Joel Embiid, he's thin. And then Rob Parker said something along the lines of Ozempic is under the coverage now for the NBA athletes. So, yeah, Zion lost a lot of weight. That's not going to help the Ozempic claims out there. Hey, anyway,
might help him. Like, that's been the Zion issue. So, if you got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to hate on that.
No, neither am I. Maybe I need it. I can't stop 220. I'm just locked at 220 for the last 4 years of my life, probably more. But still, I'm in the gym. I'm doing right. I'm trying to eat better.
I wouldn't have guessed you're 220 if that makes you feel better,
I'm
Brace.
220, man. I've been holding 220 for years now.
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed.
You know, I appreciate it, but, you know, it's all in the belly. It's all in the belly. And I've been trying to do Michelob Ultras. You know, I'm doing my part. I don't drink IPAs anymore. No Coronas. It's Ultras or nothing.
I'm in the opposite form right now. I'm trying to gain weight, trying to put on some LBs.
Oh, man. I know what could help you in the midnight hour.
Yeah.
That always makes that's my issue is I make the trip to the refrigerator in the midnight
Late night,
hour.
yeah.
Exactly. All right. 5 o'clock hour rolling on here. Once again, coming up on the other side, another Daily Ticket debut. Been looking forward to getting this gentleman on for quite some time. We have Kyle Fisher that joins us. He has a partner over at the Philadelphia Sports Network, CORY NIDOH, and he'll be talking a little birds and Phillies. Big fan of what CORY's able to do over there. And again, they have a great roster of talent, so make sure you check out everything that they're pushing. But we'll talk a little Eagles, get his thoughts as far as what went wrong in the first half. Let's put that to the side. Let's start focusing on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the Birds are 3.5-point favorites on Sunday. We'll find out what CORY has to say. And, oh, by the way, Phillies conversation as well. Big 5 o'clock hour, more after this. Hey, Sean Brace here, and guess what? The cash contest is back. Starting next Monday, listen up for the keyword at the top of every hour, 9 times a day, and all you have to do is go to our website, and you could enter to win $1,000. That's it. The cash contest is back, happening again for the next 8 weeks right here on The Gambler. 9 times a day, top of the hour, keyword, enter to win $1,000. Who hooks you up more than The Gambler? Nobody.
You see what I see, love?
Her grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
It was a typical day in Philly until the word got out. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down. Just go to Springfield Mitsubishi. Every vehicle is just a dime. One dime down.
Plus, new Mitsubishis are $9,000 off. Yeah, $9,000 off MSRP.
And get 0% financing, 0 for 60 months at Springfield Mitsubishi. Plus acres of pre-owned, all makes, all models.
And ask for credit, amnesty. If you bring home $400 a week, you could get up to $30,000 in credit.
With just one dime down. Up to $9,000 off MSRP.
And it's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down.
At Springfield Mitsubishi on Baltimore Pike.
They service all makes and models.
PhillyDrive.com.
PhillyDrive.com.
New 25 Outlander, 32.2, dime down, $535 a month, 72 months at 6% APR. Plus tax tag title to qualified buyers up to $9,000 off plug-in hybrid platinum through 9/30.
The free iHeart Radio app makes your car radio jealous.
Live radio presets, lyrics for songs, and the most podcasts on the planet.
Plus, it all fits in your pocket.
Your car radio can't do that.
Make sure the free iHeart Radio app is on your smartphone now.
The #1 app for radio.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
There'll be a scattered shower or downpour north and west of the city this evening. Otherwise, it's quiet, warm, and very muggy overnight with low temperatures in the upper 60s. Rather cloudy on Wednesday. There'll be a few bright spots at times, tremendously humid with a high of 84 degrees. And any shower or downpour will hold off into the evening hours, mainly north and west. I'm meteorologist Adam Joseph with your 6 ABC forecast.
This report is sponsored by Prime Big Deal Days. Prime Big Deal Days are happening on October 7th and 8th with savings up to 40% off. This is your chance to grab that item you've been thinking about. It's Prime Big Deal Days, coming soon, October 7th and 8th.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We've got jam traffic on the Schuylkill eastbound 202, the Conshohocken curve, with a crash on the shoulder. Further east, stop and go Montgomery Drive to south, westbound Jan University to Girard, where the off-ramp's partially blocked with a disabled vehicle. Then stop and go Boulevard to Belmont. 95 northbound Jan Vine Expressway up to Bridge, southbound Jan Cotman and the Betsy Ross. In Bucks County, Route 1 southbound is blocked Trent Marsville Bridge with a crash. Traffic at a standstill from Perry Street. And on the northbound side, one lane gets by. All right, to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off, free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Tony O'Donovan, President and CEO of Arkema Inc.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You can even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Football season is back, yes, but off the field, life can hit even harder at times. Car wreck, slip and fall, work injuries, yeah, they all happen. Don't sit on the sideline after being injured, though. Only one person to call. Call attorney Big Al, 1-800-HURT-123. Big Al gets the job done, and he picks up 24/7. Big Al brings the heat both on and off the field, and he wins. That's the most important part. One more time, 1-800-HURT-123. Call Big Al today.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Jackson hands it to Henry. Henry falls out. Picked up by the Lions. They've got it inside the 20-yard line. DJ Reed with the football in his hands. The Lions stripped it away from Derrick Henry. What a big turn of events, and the Lions have got it now.
Yeah, that's how it sounded last night, courtesy of the Detroit Lions radio network. Lions go on the road in a game that nobody gave them a chance to win, 38-30, outright as 4.5-point dogs. NFC conversation heating up just a little bit. Again, a lot of football to be played, but it's fun to look around and see if there's anybody that's new that could be popping up, or is it the same cast of characters that the Eagles had to deal with last year in the playoffs? We'll talk a little bit more. Again, it's September. All right. I'm not trying to talk about the playoffs right now, but it is fun to look around. More focus on the Eagles. And, oh, by the way, how about those fighting Phillies, as they have 2 series left in the season, 3 against Miami here. And then 3 against the Twins, I want to say, right? 3 against the Twins. So 6 total games left. The opportunity to be the overall one spot, probably going to be a little bit too much to get at this point in time, but get the bye. That's what it's all about. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Fightins as well. Folks, we got ourselves another Daily Ticket debut. Been a fan of this dude's work. It's been crushing it on the timeline. Make sure you're following as well. You can find Corey at Corey_NIDOH. That's NIDOH. He joins us right now. He is over there at the Philly Sports Network with the great Kyle Fisher as well. Corey, man, great to have you. How you been, man?
I'm doing well, Sean. Appreciate you having me on the show. Really fun weekend and looking forward to talking some shop with you guys.
Absolutely. All right, so bring us in the backdrop here. I mean, I look at your ex bio here, man. This is Sean Barnard, first of all, my co-host. I know you know who Sean is. This is a true J journal right here. Look at you, man. You got an impressive resume. So how did you end up with the folks over at the Philly Sports Network, and what's on your plate right now, man?
Yeah, I reached out to Liam Jenkins, who runs PSN. 2 years ago, I moved back from Maryland, working in local television as a sports reporter and play-by-play broadcaster. Just going out on a hunch, saying, hey, I kind of want to scratch my itch with my writing again. And one thing led to another. Liam interviewed me, and now I'm with PSN for a second year, first full season covering the Eagles and Phillies. So it's been a blast. You mentioned Kyle Fisher. He's a great guy. He's been a wonderful supporter of me to join the team along with everybody else. And we're just trying to do our best to provide good alternate coverage away from the mainstream media. Not that the mainstream guys, WIP, Fanatic, the Inquirer, all of them, obviously they do wonderful work, but there's plenty of storylines to share among our favorite teams here in the city, and we're just trying to bring the best coverage possible to our readers.
No, you guys definitely do that.
And shout out to those guys, by the way. That's where I got my very start as well with Philly Sports Network. To Liam Jenkins, Zach Chavalella, all those guys over there. So all good people at Philly Sports Network. Could not recommend them more.
Yeah, man. Great content across the board. Like I said, some great voices over there, great opinions. So keep it going. And anytime we can feature them right here on the Gambler on the Daily Ticket, that's a win for us across the board. Now, East Stroudsburg.
Nice.
Yep, East Stroudsburg University alum. Not too many out in the media field, but we do have some.
Nice.
I wear that with a badge of honor.
Oh yeah.
Not going to a big time journalism school, but it taught me to grind, and I've carried that mantra everywhere I've went, from minor league baseball to now having the opportunity to be in these press boxes. It's been kind of a dream come true.
Now, I see you're play-by-play for Penn, but minor league baseball, man. I did some minor league work too as well. That's when you're going to figure it out if you like this, you love this, or if this is what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I got my start down in Daytona Beach, Florida with the Daytona Tortugas. Spent a year there the summer of 2017. And after I'd call games, I'd clean up the stadium with the crew. So people, you know the grind right away. If you're meant for it, make a few extra bucks, and we were the cleaning crew, and you saw some nasty stuff after games. So
that is fantastic.
That really got my feet wet. And then I was with Wilmington Blue Rocks for 5 years. COVID hit, kind of shifted things around a little bit, and then, like I said, moved down to Maryland, did some TV work, and kind of missed the Philly area, missed being closer to my family, and now I'm here with Philly Sports Network doing stuff with Penn, Drexel, Lehigh, Lafayette. I mean, you name it, I'm kind of everywhere, just trying to make a few extra bucks doing what I love.
I love it, man. It's great to hear. Yeah, and play-by-play is not easy, and it definitely is not easy for baseball, that's for sure. So nice work there, man. Love to catch a game. But once again, you can find Corey on all things socials, and that's CORY_NIDOH, his last name. Now, Corey, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about the Phillies to open up shop here. I think the general consensus is yes. The odds makers are telling us that this is a damn good team. I think everyone is believing that they have what it takes, but hand in the air, I thought they had what it took last year. So at this point in time, I think when we look back at last year, the big difference was they weren't playing their best baseball in September. And if I'm not mistaken, going into the Arizona series, they could currently still be the number one team in the month of September as far as wins are concerned. Major League Baseball heading into that series when they ended up losing 2 or 3 to the Diamondbacks, they were. But putting that to the side, Diamondbacks are playing for so much more than the Phillies to a point. And it could be very well the case that after this month is all wrapped up, the Phillies had the most wins in Major League Baseball this month. Is that enough for you? Do you think that this team is better suited right now, albeit without Zach Wheeler? Trey Turner's taking cuts down there. That's great to have him back. But if we were to compare what went wrong last year to what we are seeing right here, right now, are they better suited for a deep playoff run in October in your mind?
I think they are because of the adversity they're dealing with. I don't know how many teams can continue to win at the pace that they've been winning while losing their ace, while losing the Major League Baseball hit leader in Trey Turner, and still continue to stack up wins. And we remember when they got swept at Citi Field, the sirens were sounding, the panic button was being smashed, and then they just reset themselves. And they've got enough veterans in that clubhouse where they know what they need to do, and they've proven that. And the way this new playoff format has been situated over the last few years, if you talk to general managers or people around the game, the word crapshoot kind of comes up, and I don't necessarily love that, but that's how some of these teams are viewing it. And that's not what I'm saying Rob Thompson, the Phillies front brass, how they're viewing it. But basically the way this tournament now comes down to this playoff postseason schedule is you have to play your best baseball in September going into October. And it all that matters is who's hot. I mean, look what happened with Arizona. They bounced the Phillies out, and then they go to make the World Series. So it doesn't really matter what your win-loss record is throughout the regular season. Obviously, it matters for seeding and stuff, but come October, it's a clean slate. You've got hungry teams like the Cincinnati Reds right now pushing on the Mets for that final wild card spot. If the season were to end today, Cincinnati would be getting that final spot right now. So I think the Phillies are really poised to make a deep run. I know some fans might be a little hesitant just because of how the last few postseasons have gone. But I think with Christopher Sanchez assuming the ace role, and as you mentioned, Trey Turner has been taking batting practice today prior to their series opener against the Marlins. I think that's a great sign. And they have guys that are stepping up. I mean, guys like Otto Kemp, Max Lazar has been phenomenal bullpen when he's needed. So Rob Thompson alluded to it, that it takes a village. It's not just the original 25, 26 guys on your roster coming out of spring training. And they've gotten a lot of development pieces coming up, and they've all contributed in different ways. And that can make this team very scary.
Yeah, 100% there. And I also think there's like a sense of urgency within the locker room that wasn't felt in past years, that it did feel like this Phillies team sort of burst onto the scene, that they make it to the playoffs and they're deep, make it go into a World Series in their first kind of debut there. And then like the expectations rose while the results sort of fell to this point. One way or another, this Phillies team's going to look pretty drastically different next year when you factor in all the impending decisions that are coming at the end of this year, from Kyle Schwarber to Harrison Bader to JT Realmuto, Ranger Suarez. The point being that this year is important for them to capitalize.
Hell yeah.
But I honestly feel like the locker room as a whole has sort of acknowledged that in like a healthy way. When you look at the outfield situation, which has really been at the forefront of things, guys like Nick Castellanos, I think, are going out of their way to try and be a good teammate. Max Kepler buying in and finding his role. Harrison Bader has been a perfect match for this Phillies team. So I guess to bring the question directly about the outfield here, we don't see Castellanos in the lineup once again today. It has become increasingly frequent. What's your feel for the way that Rob Thompson sort of like goes about this process heading into the postseason?
I think Rob Thompson is just a calm, cool, collected guy. I know he gets flack that maybe he's not fiery enough. And let's be honest, the managers of the 90s and 2000s and even before that, they're not wired to go out there and kick dirt on a home plate and throw their ball cap on the ground. That's not what they're made to do. But Thompson earns the trust of these guys. He easily, keeping on the topic of Castellanos, he easily could have taken Nick out of the lineup in the middle of the summer. But he said, no, Castellanos has built enough equity as a veteran where I trust him that he can get out of it. Now, did he get out of it the way Thompson was hoping? Probably not. But it shows that he's going to trust his guys and then have a conversation and make the right decisions. Now, I know Nick said recently that him and Topper don't really have a great line of communication, and that's kind of been a big storyline that's thickening. But to your point, Sean, about him being a good teammate, he easily could go the other way and make this an absolute disaster where he becomes a bad teammate. He starts sulking. He's not in it, but he's there. And I think he understands. And Max Kepler alluded to this while he was going through his stretch of the platoon. Kepler said, you have to understand what is best for the team and you have to adjust accordingly. At the end of the day, all these guys want to win a World Series. How many opportunities will some of these players get? If Castellanos isn't here next year, I'm not sure what contending team might take him, but he could very well just be a veteran leadership type of guy for a middling team. And you might not get a chance to win a World Series. So I think what Rob Thompson has done has been phenomenal with this outfield platoon. I think the guys now understand their roles. And I'm still a little bit of a traditionalist when it comes to lineup construction and how this sport goes. These guys are so routine based. It starts down in the minors. It starts in college. Heck, it even starts in high school for some of these kids. Like you show up at the ballpark and you're wondering, oh, am I batting fourth today? Am I batting eighth? Am I even in the lineup? It kind of messes with your psyche. And I know people say, oh, well, they get paid millions of dollars. They got to deal with it. There's a routine about playing 162 days of the season. So I think what Rob Thompson he's done a phenomenal job. Harrison Bader has been lights out. He's been a phenomenal addition. I remember when he was with the Yankees a few years ago and what he did in the playoffs. He is a lightning rod and he's showed it. So I know it took him a little while to get going. He was getting used to the platoon after being an everyday player. It's been fun to watch, and you got to like what you're seeing from this outfield right now.
Got CORY NIDOH joining us right now and talking some Phillies here. Of course, they returned to action after losing 2 or 3 over the weekend to the Diamondbacks. Put that to the side. All the sights are set right now on the 6 games that remain. Let's talk a little bit about Trey Turner. I know that we just discussed that there's a video he's taking hacks. Of course, he was fielding ground balls last week. The expectation, though, where are we at? What is the latest that you've heard from Rob Thompson? Do we think he's going to play one of these final games of the regular season? Would that be a good move in your opinion? And I guess I'm asking you, look in the crystal ball. Does it change for you because of him missing the last 2 to 3 weeks? Forgive me, I don't know the exact number that he's been out, but it's been an extended period of time, and this is one of the best hitters in the game. Should we have that expectation for Trey Turner, bar none, even though coming off a hamstring injury here?
Yeah, I know earlier today we've got some guys on the ground there, and I believe Thompson said that Trey's about 70 to 75% strength-wise. Maybe we'll see him play a game or two this weekend to close out the season, but I don't think you rush him. I think you just got to be patient with him. I know it might be a little tough for him to get acclimated. I know they've got some minor league pitchers that were coming in to throw BP to him today. So I think you have to just go with how Trey feels. And obviously he's going to want to be out there as soon as possible, but you don't want this to flare up right before the playoffs. So I'm cool and I'm fine with him not playing this final week of the season. Let him do some work on the field. Let him take some batting practice, take some ground balls, just get him up to game speed. And then once that round opens up where they've got the bye, okay, now he's good and you've got your leadoff hitter back. So I wouldn't rush him. I think they're still trying to figure out exactly the best timeline. Hamstring injuries are so tricky. Luckily this time for Trey, it wasn't as severe as the one he had previously. So that was good news. And yeah, I mean, they've been able to win games without him. And the Marlins, they could be pesky, they try to be spoiler. The Twins have nothing to play for. So I don't think you rush Trey back at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that probably is in the cards. And you're right. It's something like that injury. You just want to handle it with such caution. And of course, forgive me. So it'll be the 30th and they'll have like another week or so to rest him there. So yeah, you got to add that to the equation. I don't know. It's interesting how they're going to handle it. We'll see what happens. We know how much he is important to this lineup, to this team altogether. So yeah, obviously selfish here. I want to see him in there ASAP, but it's probably not the right move. So we'll see what happens as far as that is concerned. All right, crystal ball again with CORY here. That might be a segment moving forward, CORY. As far as teams that this Phillies team will face coming up in the playoffs. I think we're all eyes on the final wild card spot, the Reds, and then will be the winner of the Reds and Dodgers. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, right now, obviously the Mets are tied with the Reds. I'd have to go back to check the tiebreakers, but right now, I know when I looked it up, if the season were to end today, the Reds are in and the Mets are out. So they would play the winner, the winner of the Dodgers and the Reds. The easy choice would say you want to see the Reds at Citizens Bank Park, but they got the race back in Hunter Green. Nick Lodolo has looked good against the Phillies. The two teams split their 6 games in the regular season, so the Reds play the Phillies pretty tough. I don't know if it's a shoo-in, but I think you still rather that lineup than the Dodgers lineup and their starting rotation. So if you're asking me who I would rather the Phillies see, or if you're a fan of the Phillies, who you'd rather see, it'd probably be the Reds. The Dodgers, though, I think they're too strong, and I think they're going to beat whoever they play, whether it's the Reds or the Mets. And the Dodgers, a little tidbit here, but they might be relieved that they're not the top seed in the NL. They've been bounced in each of the last 2 years having that top seed. So now they can kind of play with little to no pressure in terms of that regard and say, hey, we're just going to play ball and continue to play, because that first round bye could be tricky for teams. It's hard to flip a switch on, in my opinion, especially in baseball, with 5-6 days off after playing meaningful baseball, and you've got a team coming in, scratching and clawing to keep their season alive. I know the numbers have been in favor of those top seeds. The Dodgers, actually, I was looking back since 2022, the Dodgers have been the only 1 seed to be bounced out in multiple years as the top seed in the NL. So it's some type of curse for the Dodgers out there. But I think if you're the Phillies, I think they're not going to say, oh, obviously we want the Reds or the Dodgers. They're not coming out and saying that. But looking on paper, the Reds aren't as easy of a best-of-3 series win as some might think, with Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo going 1-2, if they're able to line up their rotation that way. Again, they're tied with the Mets, so they're still playing for a lot. So they may not be able to jostle that rotation and look that far ahead.
Yeah, and one of the bigger advantages that the Phillies got with that is, of course, being able to cut your rotation down and being able to manage that directly as they plan to and want to here. Now, I understand some of the answer to this question is tied to the matchup here, but the pitching rotation that they ultimately decide on, Christopher Sanchez taking the ball for game 1. Ranger Suarez, I think, is a lock to get a start there. But then the question becomes, is it Jesus Luzardo or Aaron Nola? Nola's a guy who just hasn't quite got himself right throughout the entirety of this year, with injuries being a huge issue. I get the sense, sort of reading the quotes, reading the stories, seeing what's being said, that it seems like they're leaning towards Luzardo being the guy and going with 3 lefties there. Is that your sense? Do you think that's accurate? And do you think that would be the right call?
I think it would be the right call just because Nola hasn't been able to show any signs that he can figure it out this year. I think if he had a couple of good starts since returning from injury, that would change their mind, because I know the biggest concern was, oh, well, you can't start 3 straight lefties in a best-of-3 series. But the problem is 2 of those 3 lefties are pretty darn good in Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez. Now, Jesus Luzardo has been really solid for them. Sometimes you look at his outings and you're like, oh, he's not going to get out of the 3rd inning. And next thing you know, he's got 10 strikeouts through 6, and he's given up 2 runs, and he just is able to battle his way through. So I think if you want to put your best 3 pitchers out there in this best of 3, it's got to be those 3 lefties, and then you figure it out moving forward. So I think that would be the way I would go. I think that's also where they would be leaning. I know they love Aaron Nola. He's a veteran. He means a lot to this franchise. But say Hunter Green is able to line up for game 1. That's not an automatic win against a guy that throws gas.
Yeah.
So now if you lose, now you're 0-1 and you're going to go to Nola. Now you're down 0-2 in a best of 5. Like what's going to happen now? Now you're really behind it, and you're spoiling your home field advantage. So I think you go roll with the 3 lefties and see what happens after that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. That's something we were discussing earlier, Sean, where it's like, man, this is so difficult. And like, I want to believe that this is the year, and I will believe until they're eliminated. I think that this team is special. They have something about them.
Gotta believe,
Yeah, you
Brace.
gotta believe, right? And without Wheeler in the lineup, and of course losing Trey, and they still continue to win games. Everything's coming together. It's just so difficult. You get in those series, those best of 5. Thankfully, no best of 3, but best of 5. You lose one. And the next thing you know, your backs are against the wall. It's just a crazy way to win a World Series. But we'll see what happens. Of course, that will be here before we know it. Once again, playoff action starts off in Major League Baseball on September the 30th. Phillies back in action this evening, taking on the Marlins. Something to keep our eyes on with Christopher Sanchez. Finish the right way. Finishing the right way. Let's get on over to the Birds. They did exactly that on Sunday, Corey. You got a great tweet up here. Brought this to my attention. The Eagles have been a perfect 8 for 8 scoring touchdowns in the red zone to start the season. That's pretty good. Last time I checked, 8 for 8 in the red zone. Yeah. And he went on to go and say that last season they finished with a touchdown on 58.3% of their red zone trips. Yet I got guys like Drew Brees telling me the Eagles are boring on offense. I don't know. Let's just take this from the first half perspective. And you're watching the game at home. You're watching the film, breaking it down post game. What exactly went wrong for the Eagles in the first half? If you can go ahead and narrow it down to one thing that you thought that the Eagles did wrong, and that obviously led off to a very, very sluggish start through 2 quarters.
I think it's just they're not getting the running game going, and it opens up the passing for Jalen Hurts and their weapons. I said this going into the season, teams are going to take Saquon Barkley away this year and force Jalen Hurts and this offense to throw their way to victories. And that's what the Rams did. There was no running room for Barkley. And for as good as this offensive line has been, if you look at the tape and look at the games, that starting 5 hasn't gotten off to the best start this year. Cam Jurgens, I think, is still dealing with some of that lingering effect from the knee injury. Lane Johnson left the game with a neck injury, and that's when it really got ugly. Matt Pryor came in at right tackle, and he struggled mightily. And then they finally put Fred Johnson in to solidify that right side. I just think that this offense has been too conservative, even though Kevin Patullo said earlier today that conservative isn't the right word to describe the offense in the first half. But you had A.J. Brown say post-game, it comes off that we're playing too conservative. And Jalen Hurts told Pam Oliver post-game on Fox, we have to stop playing to avoid losing. And to me, that screams conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And I get they have an amazing record when they win the turnover battle. They're like 37-2 or something like that over the last near 40 games, 39 games or whatever. But to me, you have to take some chances. You have to take the top off the defense, or at least show the defense, hey, we're going to use our guys. We're going to go deep to Devontae. We're going to go deep to AJ. You have to respect that, and then we can hit the short to middle routes and get Barkley going. But if it was one thing to me that stood out early, it was the lack of lanes opening for Saquon Barkley, forcing them to be one-dimensional. And the Rams defense is good too. I mean, there's no slouches over there. They've got a good unit.
Yeah, it's a good team, and it won't shock me if they're in the playoffs again. Won't shock me if they win that division over there in the West. Of course, with the Niners dealing with what they're dealing with this year, injuries, so on and so forth. A lot of football to be played. With that, hitting the fast forward button this weekend on the road to Tampa Bay. Birds are 3.5-point favorites. What does that do to you? Because it makes me a little uncomfortable to say that the Eagles are favored on the road in Tampa. Tampa's a good team. It's a place they don't play well in. I think the Eagles are going down there early, so maybe they'll have some different luck this time around. But the Eagles are favored by 3.5. What says you on this one?
Yeah, I think a little bit goes into Mike Evans not playing in this one with the hamstring injury. You look at who Baker Mayfield's going to throw to. It's going to be Egbuka and Sterling Shepard, ? Yep. It's almost like the Chiefs game, but they at least have one formidable wide receiver, albeit he's a rookie. Chris Godwin's listed questionable. I don't think he's ready to play. And you got Bucky Irving. And they did a good job containing Bucky Irving last year. I was looking through the box score before I hopped on, and he ran for under 50 yards. He only had one catch. Now, he did score a touchdown. But the biggest thing to me that this Eagles team needs to do, they need to contain Baker Mayfield and not allow him to kind of make those backyard plays, if you will, where he's running around with his head cut off, and this great secondary of the Eagles, no matter the talent, you can only cover an NFL wide receiver for so long before they're going to find a way to get open. So Baker torched them last year. He threw for over 350 yards, or just under, 3 touchdowns. And Vic Fangio said earlier today he always liked Baker Mayfield. Vic comes up with great quotes. He said, I don't know why teams who had him let him go. He said, GMs make mistakes just like coaches. And he has had high praise for Baker Mayfield. And he said it's going to be a tough task because this Tampa team is a very well-balanced offensive attack. But with no Mike Evans, I think this makes the Eagles secondary's job a lot easier. Although it's reported that Dory Jackson and Ja'Cory Bennett are banged up, they might not be able to suit up. So if that's the case, you're looking at Keely Ringo and Mac McWilliams as your possible CB2.
Yikes.
So, buckle up for that one, folks. But we'll see how the injury report pans out throughout the week during practice. The 3.5, I don't know if I take it. They're 1-4 in Nick Sirianni's tenure against Tampa, and the hook scares me. So I would buy the hook, get rid of that thing, and if you want to take the Eagles at 3, go ahead. But to me, I can't discredit them. I can't count them out and say they're going to lose this game, because before the season started, I had them going 2-2 in this first 4-game stretch. I thought this was a really tough 4-game stretch. Didn't know how the defense was going to look. I chalked up a loss to Kansas City before the season, not knowing that Worthy was going to run into Travis Kelce and dislocate his shoulder. But now they've shown that they can win in so many different ways. It's hard to go against them. But yeah, it's scary. It's kind of a house of horrors for them down in Tampa, but they find ways to win. So I get why they're favorites. I don't know if I would play it if you're telling me like a top 3 pick, but it makes sense.
All right, give me 30 seconds on this one. You're Howie Roseman. You calling CJGJ, bringing him in?
No, I am not.
Any reason why?
I think it's just they've proven why they don't want him. Yeah. I mean, he's a great player. Yes. You get twice. Exactly, Sean. You can't take away what he's meant to this team. I mean, both years that he was on this defense, he led or was tied for the lead in interception. So he was able to find the ball, but he's going on his 5th team now in 5 years. And the reports out of Houston saying that he was very critical of teammates and didn't like his role. And then there's something circulating on Twitter, I believe, based on the NFL CBA, the Eagles, I don't know, they can't sign him either because he didn't play for 4 games with Houston. So there's some type of wording there that's above my pay grade to understand at this moment. But it doesn't look like they are able to sign him right now. But even if they were, he doesn't play cornerback, and you're not going to take Drew Makuba off the field. I mean, that's why they drafted Makuba. So short answer, easy answer is no for me.
I think I'm in agreement there, and we'll see. It sounds like he's on his way to Dallas. That's where I'm guessing he'll be a Cowboy.
They need help, man. They are atrocious.
Yeah, exactly that. Corey, you're the best, man. Can't thank you enough for stopping by. Let's do it again very, very soon. Once again, you can find him on all things socials. CORY_NIDOH. What do you got cooking up over there at the Philly Sports Network? Where can we catch your next piece?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get a matchups piece out this week. I'm actually heading down to Florida, not to cover the game, but for another event I got going on down there. And then I'll be on site for the Eagles-Broncos game first weekend of October, be in the press box, repping Philly Sports Network and talking to the guys and everything. So, yeah, you can follow my work at CORY_NIDOH, as you mentioned, Sean, on Twitter. Super active there. Follow Philly Sports Network and all the great writers we have. So appreciate you having me on. Love the work that you guys do, and looking forward to the next time chatting.
My man, definitely do it again. Safe travels, and good luck on everything you got cooking over there at PSN. We'll catch up down the road, sir.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
My man, there he is. Once again, Corey NIDOH on the Gambler stream. A lot to chew on there. Yeah, look, CJGJ, I did see that Brandon Lee Gouton put it out there on Bleeding Green Nation that I don't think the Eagles could re-sign him. But then there were people going back and forth. You know how it is with Twitter. Nobody's wrong. Nobody's right. But let's just have the barroom conversation. Like Corey brought it up, and I think he was perfectly stated by saying, look, he was a ball hawk. He was a guy that went out there and did pick or make the interceptions.
The football and teammate conversations are very different when having
That's
the CJ
true.
Gardner-Johnson discussion. Like the on-field play speaks for itself. The dude's everywhere. He's a good safety. It's not a coincidence. They've gone to 2 Super Bowls when he's been a key part of this team. It's also not a coincidence that he's played for 5 different teams in 5 years and was just cut 3 games into a season.
Does he have a podcast, or does he just go live while he plays video games? I think that's what he does.
Yeah, I think he's a streamer kind of guy, Twitch guy.
I actually blocked or muted the word streamer on my X account.
Did you?
Yeah, I had to. I like when you're telling me about dudes like Neon and it's Kai and like
Kai Cenat.
Yeah, the streamers. I'm like, all right, I'm out, dude. Ninja.
I don't get it either. I'm just kind of aware. Like I understand there's a universe out there. It's not one that I live in.
They're crazy.
They're big dogs, man. They get millions of people watching this, which blows my mind.
Absolutely insane. All of them. Every one of them. And they're like vampires. They never sleep.
For real.
All right. Final stretch on the other side. Hey, coming up at 6 o'clock, head coach Mark Ferrante show coming your way right here. Villanova football will be broadcasting live on Saturday. Myself and Ryan Beef Coyle, the college football rundown show. We'll be leading you right up to kickoff between Villanova and William and Mary. It's family weekend happening up there on the main line. So Beef and I will be rocking out live from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on The Gambler. And once again, head coach Mark Ferrante show coming up at 6 o'clock. Don't touch that dial, though. We're not done here. More after this.
Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check for your wallet first before hitting the drive-thru.
$6. Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
All right, gentlemen. This is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 25 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shields Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 or in Mississippi.
The biggest headliners in live music shared this stage.
At our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Jelly roll!
Hi, this is Ed Sheeran.
Hi there, this is Brian Adams.
Make some noise for Tate McRae.
Hey, I'm Sammy Hagar.
Hey, this is Noodles from The Offspring.
We have Maroon 5. Good evening.
Hey, this is John Fogerty.
This your girl, Glorilla. The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Get ready to relive the once-in-a-lifetime moments, starting October 2nd, only on Hulu.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Mainly just volume delays on our major roadways. Eastbound Schuylkill, stop and go 202 to Belmont and Boulevard to South. Westbound Jan, University Teacher Bar and Heavy City to Belmont. The Vine Expressway westbound backed up. Pershing Broad to the Schuylkill eastbound tied up. Schuylkill 95 and 95 northbound. So north of the airport to Broad Street. Then stop and go Penn's Landing to Bridge. Southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Delays on the Blue Route southbound. St. David's to Media Swarthmore. Northbound heavy 95 to Route 1. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. Fall for a brooding duke. Dive into a steamy romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas. Or find the perfect rom-com from Lily Chu. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com.
You see what I see, love?
Our grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At public.com, you can invest in almost everything: stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Time now for your Tuesday BetMGM Baseball Buzz. The New York Yankees can clinch a playoff berth with a win over the White Sox. The Seattle Mariners can clinch a playoff berth with a win over Colorado and a Yankees win. The Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Guardians square off tonight, one game separating them in the AL Central. Step up to the plate with BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Bet on any MLB game to activate an odds boost token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. No opt-in is required. MLB trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for full terms. 21 plus. This U.S. promo offer is not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BET-TALK. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossy Casino and Hotel. That's your Tuesday BetMGM Baseball Buzz.
Looking for something new? Try fencing, the Olympic and Paralympic sport that mixes speed, strategy, and fun. It's like chess meets cardio. Quick feet, quick decisions, and a satisfying beat when you score a point. Kids, teens, and adults can start anytime. No experience needed, and many clubs have loaner gear. Coaches teach fundamentals and safety from day one. Find a beginner class near you at usafencing.org/tryfencing. That's usafencing.org/tryfencing.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is... Well, you've come to the right place.
Hi.
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace. Right here on Fox Sports Radio. The Gambler.
Yes, you got Sean Brace and you got Sean Barnard with you here. Coming down the home stretch, we'll hand things off to Steve Pannone out there at Chickies and Pete's in Drexel Hill with head coach Mark Ferrante coming your way. Big game for Nova. Got to bounce back after a tough loss over the weekend. You know they will. It's not the first time that they have lost a game in a regular season. So I expect Villanova to really bounce back in a big way on Saturday, where we will be live from 1 to 3, getting you ready for Villanova and William and Mary. With that being said, the big news in college football today, John Mateer,
big deal,
Heisman Trophy favorite for Oklahoma. He will miss an extended period of time due to surgery on his throwing hand. Broke it. Sean, the first 5 minutes of the game, he broke it.
He's a dog. He's definitely a dog.
Good grief, man. How do you break your hand as a quarterback and still play?
You're a dog. That's how.
That, and there's probably some other things that are helping. The adrenaline, too, as well.
Sure.
But, man, that is just a tough blow for a team that has, a lot of big things happening for him this year, the expectations. This kid has been around a little bit, though, at Washington State, ripped it up. Big-time transfer portal get for the Sooners. You look at his numbers, though. Maybe we were hitting the gas pedal a little bit on this Heisman Trophy candidacy, just a little bit. 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
I think it's a little bit of nobody else has grabbed it kind of situation.
I agree with you on that.
Like, I think by comparison, he's still been the best quarterback this year. Like, there's been a lot of ups and downs, guys that we thought. I mean, Arch Manning's a prime example of this dude entered as the Heisman favorite and isn't remotely in the conversation. I feel like there's been more of those examples than guys that have exceeded expectations.
That's fair. I would say guys like, and again, I wasn't saying this before the previous weekend, but Mendoza from Indiana, good grief. He was slinging it. Carson Beck, for my money, has been playing better this year.
He has.
Marcel Reed, you can make the case.
Like Marcel.
Aguilar with Tennessee, right? Like, can't you say
he's played himself into the conversation? Tommy Castellanos, I'll throw in the mix.
Nice.
I don't know if he'll have the numbers to have that, but if he keeps leading Florida State to some wins, Nussmeier, you got to talk about. I think that's the right value pick currently. So there's still some names. It's obviously open for competition once again.
All right. While we're on college football, I do want to squeeze some NBA because you're here.
That's right.
Got a couple big games on Saturday.
Yeah, we're back.
Do you have what NBA
preseason?
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about the NBA back. Come on, it's talking about Oregon and Penn State.
Okay. I guess that's also a big game.
Is Abu Dhabi happening this weekend with 76ers?
October 2nd. So not this weekend, but
I can't believe we're already talking about October. Man.
10 days.
Oh my God. It's still hot outside, but come on, October. Oof. All right. With that being said, though, football, Sean, football. The Oregon Penn State game, 3.5. Where you at?
I like Oregon.
Ooh, on the road in Happy Valley College game day. You say the upset happens. Why?
I do. I think that Oregon's going to be able to put up points at a level that Penn State simply can't match. I do think Penn State has a bit of a defensive edge in a 1-for-1 comparison there, but I don't think they're going to be able to fully stop Dante Moore and that whole Oregon offense. I just have doubts about Drew Aller being able to put up a consistent 45-point offense against the top tier competition. I think this is going to be a wake up call. It's going to be a fun game. I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means, but I do think Oregon gets the upset.
Man, I'm pulling for Penn State. I can't remember too many times of saying that in my life. I really am, but I kind of side with you, and I'm not trying to play both sides. From a gambling perspective, good luck, right? Like, you want to take Oregon, cool. You want to back Penn State at home, fine. Like, I'm not here to tell you which way you should go on that one. There's other games that I have much more of a better vibe on, let's just say that. But I would like to see Penn State win this game, right? Like, it's a home game, it's the whiteout, get the job done. Sean, more and more, I probably would lean towards Penn State winning this game. I would. But, how many times have we said something like that and then they come up small? And that would be just more of the same here. But it's not Ohio State. It's not Michigan. It's Oregon. And they're coming across the way. A lot of hype, a lot of attention on the game. Penn State had the week off. Oregon had to play Oregon State. I know they lumped them up pretty good, but, that's got to go into the equation here. I don't know. Interesting. We'll break this one down a lot over the week. But right here, right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Penn State. I didn't think I would be.
Interesting.
Anything for you on Alabama and Georgia? What's our number in that one?
Let me pull it up as we're speaking. This isn't one I have a hard-hitting pick on for the record here. I probably lean towards Alabama, but I'm still
7:30 kick as well.
Okay. Did you get a number on that?
That is 3. Georgia favored at home.
Okay. I think I probably lean towards the upset in that one as well.
Wow.
But I'm sort of up in the air with both these teams currently. That I'm not all the way in or all the way out in either direction. This might be the kind of measuring stick matchup that I'm waiting for that maybe does convince me one way or another. We're just getting to that point in college football where I think it's fair to have those takeaways for where the true hierarchy is and how these teams stack up. This is going to be a game that I think means more to me for how I look at these teams moving forward than I have expectations going in.
Yeah, we're learning a lot. This is the time to learn. And, of course, as we talked about earlier today, you look at these schedules and there's so much football to be played. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and say that LSU is going to run the table or Bama. You just can't do that because there's going to be some upsets and there will be teams that do win 90% of the remaining games. And yeah, they're going to be in the conversation to win the conference. That's obvious. But right here, it's just a lot of guessing at this moment in time. So like you pointed out, this is one of those games where we're going to learn a lot. And I'll take Georgia at home -3. I'll take them dogs. That was a very impressive performance against Tennessee to come back and win that game, albeit how they did, I understand. But still, I got to give Georgia a lot of credit. They are that team. Bama still trying to figure out a little bit, but they played a little bit better, obviously, since they started. I'll roll with Georgia in that one. But we do have some great games on Saturday. We'll be live on Saturday afternoon from 1 to 3. Got Notre Dame in action again with a big spot. So many good football games going off in the world of college football. All right. And then NBA, Sean Bedard, the 76ers made a lot of moves today. Anything worthwhile?
Amani Bates is a guy worth keeping an eye on. The story with him is this was a dude who was the #1 recruit in high school, looked at as one of these next Kevin Durant type guys, got himself in a little bit of legal trouble that shifted up his entire career, ended at Eastern Michigan and then had to play for Memphis in his 2 seasons at college. Really has not found his footing. He'll be an entertaining watch anytime we see him. I think he'll primarily be a G League guy. He is a shot chucker. When he gets red hot, he's a blast to watch. That's like a name worth keeping an eye on, I would say.
All right, great stuff across the way here. Sean Barnard, fantastic job as always. A long list of guests to thank. Corey NIDOH, awesome stuff from Corey. Let's see here. We had Larry Henry Jr. and JP ACOSTA from CBS Sports. So a jam-packed show. Great stuff as always, Sean. You can find Sean Barnard on socials and, of course, over there with DraftKings and Crossing Broad as well. The man stays busy. And, oh, by the way, he's only going to get more busy here moving forward with NBA back in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up next, head coach Mark Ferrante show live from Chickies and Pete's in Drexel Hill. Back tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Don't touch that dial. Mark Ferrante show next.
Stay tuned to Fox